in fact a tornado, but this is not only a tornado warning, but they're saying tornado has been confirmed, and we do have right now this rotation that would be around the Vinton area. I'm not sure if they have said much else in the actual warning text. Let's see. But they're just saying a tornado has been observed, and tornado producing storm extending from Lime Creek to County Park Fair to the Benton County Fairgrounds, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Sometimes they add that someone has seen something.
Yeah, there hasn't been any of that, or nothing else in our chat about where it was seen or anything else.
Sometimes they do observed, but they're saying public confirmed tornado. So we'll see if we get some more information on this as it kind of comes together. But we do now have a tornado warning that goes until 5:30. And in addition, this storm still has the capability of producing 70-mile-per-hour winds and the quarter-size hail. And it also is a prolific lightning producer, and I just put that back on. And it also maybe could be seeing a little bit more hail here shortly. But we do have right now this tornado warning. This does not include Cedar Rapids, but sirens going off in the northwestern quadrant. I'm not sure if it will include the Cedar Rapids area because it is a bit close to it, but this does include Center Point, Walker, Shellsburg, Vinton, Brandon, Rowley, Quasqueton, and they may be just accounting for the entire area here in terms of this storm and the rotation with it. Potentially two areas of rotation, one around the east of Brandon and west of Walker, and then one near Vinton. Maybe it's picked up on the south side there toward the Vinton area. So I'm curious if maybe that is what is happening, but have they said anything?
Nothing yet to kind of maybe confirm or where specifically that they are looking or seeing that area of rotation, but it might be one of those things where we're kind of looking at maybe a couple areas now that they're kind of interested in here, maybe on this line of storms that's starting to form. But maybe, yeah, south of Vinton, there certainly could be some type of area that we could potentially see at least some rotation occurring there.
So this would be some rotation here just along Highway 218 near Vinton. And then it looks like maybe up to the north here, Kason, that there's like a little tiny sign of rotation. I'm not sure if maybe that is what the indication is, that they're perhaps warning it for such a large area. It's a little hard to say, but this does go until 5:30, and we do have, they're still saying an observed tag on it. So we have right now the hail still possible to an inch in size, the most of which is happening just to the west of the Center Point area and heading toward Urbana I-380. And then we still have the potential as well for some 70-mile-per-hour winds. I'm kind of, I wish they would say something about what reports they've gotten.
Yeah. And I know that, yeah, maybe that area there near kind of Vinton and Shellsburg, right around in there near Eden, might be one of those areas that potentially is continuing to kind of hold together a little bit, or at least exhibit some sort of rotation that we could specifically see at this point there. That looks like maybe the best area that we can predict on radar. Obviously, we're really, really far away of kind of what's going on here. Have a picture, I guess, near Shellsburg or whatever.
It's the Road Warrior
is out there. Yeah, we'll take a live look there. Yeah, that's a good look at that particular storm ongoing. I know meteorologist Garrett Hyde out there. Garrett, if you can hear us, give us a little update maybe on what you're seeing there as you're zooming in the camera. What are you looking at right now?
Well, for the most part, at least. Here, that was a little hot. Sorry. Starting to be... It's kind of hard to say for sure just because of the fact that this thing is so heavily rain-wrapped for the time being. As of right now, we believe actually, I think we just passed through Shellsburg here in the meantime. And as of now, we're still continuing to head south of Shellsburg pretty much at this point. So this is looking almost straight north. And one of the biggest issues that, if I can try to get this thing to focus a little bit more, is it's just been how difficult it's been to really see much of anything. I know we've had that confirmed tag on it. That's not probably helping at all, is it? But we've had that confirmed tag here and there, but it's been just so difficult to really see much of anything just because of that intense amount of rainfall that continues to come out of that. And it doesn't really look like our camera is really wanting to focus too much for us here in the meantime. But yeah, in the meantime, things have really just been very rain-wrapped, but certainly has been seeing numerous lowerings here and there. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of that off to the distance there, which certainly is not what we are looking at as far as I'm trying to find out if we can get a focus setting on this camera or not.
I see what you're saying, Garrett. I mean,
if that was
there
it or
has
not
been definitely, we're trying to see some more information. We have, I'm assuming there's just some reports that came in from the public that they're saying that there was a tornado on the ground near Vinton. Trying to get some more information from the Weather Service. They haven't answered me just yet. They were typing. We could keep Garrett picture in picture, but you could, because I do want to point out too, you can see the like blue color of the sky with that. I mean, that's a massive rain that's happening with the amount of moisture here. We also do have a flash flood warning that's been issued as a result that does include Vinton. There you go, Garrett. I mean, it looks like that's some lowering there. It looks more like a wall cloud than what we were seeing earlier. It's hard to see. Garrett, can you, are you seeing anything with that? I don't know if he might have.
Not entirely at the moment. Been trying to really keep a close eye on that for sure, but it's just been so heavily rain wrapped that, God, I mean, I'm still kind of curious where that observed report came in from, if anything. I know certainly where the kind of that shelf cloud is shaped. You can definitely see just kind of how it kind of hooks into where that big haze of rain is at. So if I can pan, there we go, just off towards the left a little bit. So you can kind of see that shelf cloud that continues to look a little bit curved, and then it continues to work its way into that little inflow notch down that direction. But the problem is it's real hazy, and this is in focus, at least here. So that is one of those key aspects, at least here, as we stand on the south side of it. Now, we've just outside of Halo. One of those dangers, especially as these things continue to stay pretty high precipitation and heavily rain-wrapped.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like there was maybe a little bit of lowering, but the contrast is going to be really hard with the rotation, or with the moisture levels and the heavy rain happening. So they've let go of the confirmed tag, and they said that they took a call about a potential land spout near Brandon. And so that's interesting to me, but we'll deal with that later. They said they're going back to radar indicated. They're saying there's some rotation over Schellsburg fire station. And so this is kind of the general area we've been seeing some of that rotation, and they're still keeping this tornado warning until 5:30. So we could we're just going to have to watch and see kind of how this evolves, if there are additional reports or if they end up letting this go, because we do have some additional severe thunderstorm warnings. And is it now including Cedar Rapids? That
yes, now including Cedar Rapids.
So
now there's
you've been hearing thunder in Cedar Rapids for like an hour, and now we do have this storm that's starting to move in, and that's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So I didn't hear the sirens go off, but they may sound if they haven't, or we just couldn't hear them in here. But we have the now Cedar Rapids, southern portion of Lynn County included in this warning. That goes until 6 p.m. for 70-mile-per-hour winds out of Keystone. And Keystone, have there been any reports out of this storm?
Haven't had any reports out of this particular storm at this time over Cedar Rapids. We do have our camera looking to the north and west. This would be right at that storm. So if we want to take our Skycam that is pulled up right now, and there's a little bit of a
it's off in the distance still.
Off in the distance, yes.
You can see the shelf cloud, though.
But certainly we'll be seeing that shelf cloud moving in, obviously, and with those 70-mile-per-hour winds that this is labeled for. We haven't heard anything here, but we assume that there will be some sirens probably at least going off here potentially.
They're outdoor warning sirens.
They could have gone off already, and we just didn't hear it in here as we're talking and trying to kind of look at things here. But certainly places like Newhall, Norway, obviously Cedar Rapids, the Eastern Iowa Airport, and those portions of Interstate 380 given the next couple of minutes here or so. We're going to have some strong winds
Can you do me a favor?
And some torrential downpours. Yes.
Yeah, some I would say very strong winds as well. Can we, I guess the sirens haven't gone off. Somebody just messaged me. It was Garrett's fiance. But we have let's put a fan on this one so we can kind of time this out for Cedar Rapids. And it's saying moving at about 50 miles per hour. So this was part of the other concern here with the storms starting to pick up in speed. So could you put just a tracker on it so we can see the timing for Cedar Rapids? Now, what's going to happen in Cedar Rapids is that we have the rain starting to approach on Highway 100. So take it from this.
You want
it from just that
take
part.
It from that? Okay.
Yeah, because the timing's going to be a little wonky. Let's go right from kind of the center of this guy, because this storm just to the west of Newhall, as it comes to the north and east, and kind of maybe straight east into Cedar Rapids, we're going to see some rain initially, but in terms of the stronger part of this storm, 508 basically heading into Newhall, Atkins around 5:15, 5:16 in Norway, and then about 5:25, 5:30 for Cedar Rapids. And it is, the way it's poised right now would be on the south side of town. We do have kind of this in-between area where there may not be as strong of winds on the northern side, but I'm going to just err on the side of caution of we are looking at some strong winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour starting to come toward the Cedar Rapids area, and we have some very heavy rain, and it just turned the lightning on for I mean,
that's incredible.
It's prolific. I mean, we have so much energy in the atmosphere. Usually we look at, it's called CAPE. It's convective available potential energy. This is a little meteorology. And for thunderstorms, you need like 1,000 CAPE for storms, and strong storms at that. And earlier today, I don't know if you'd looked recently, but it was like 6,000.
Yeah.
That is a lot of energy in the atmosphere.
Yeah, it was up to like 7,000 before we kind of had to break in of CAPE, and there was just a lot of other parameters in terms of just the instability and all the energy that we had in play. And typically when you have all of that and you get these thunderstorms to form, they just have a ton of lightning on them as well. We're already, like you can see, out even ahead of where you're thinking of where that rain is at. We've got a ton of lightning right around the Cedar Rapids metro area, all out even ahead of that line from Fairfax over to Walford, Norway. So a lot of prolific lightning. So even if it's not raining right now, this is where we need you to get to shelter, just for the fact that we've got this lightning ongoing. We can hear it even outside the studio, the prolific lightning that is ongoing here, obviously, as these storms are working their way a little bit closer to us in Cedar Rapids right now. But a whole lot of rain and a whole lot of lightning ongoing at this time here, just given all of the instability and all of the parameters that we have in play here, with some pretty strong thunderstorms that are moving in, still warned for winds of 70 miles per hour across the metro area.
So we have, I mean, like half of Lynn County is completely in a warning of either a tornado or winds of 70 miles per hour. And so both of these need to be treated the same. The other thing here, I'm just flailing my arms in the background, but the other thing is I want to zoom out and show, we are starting to get so many more warnings coming in. We've had some flash flood warnings that have gotten issued now, and we have some heavy rain, and it's also just a train of water that is being set up here. And this can become an issue where we have these multiple batches of storms that just go over the same spot over and over, and it's called training. And so we have this heavy rain falling. This is all going to gradually slide to the south and east, but it's still repeating over that same area. So there could be some concern for flash flooding as well, and that does include Waterloo and Vinton. And we have the also heavy rain that's occurring going to be heading into the Cedar Rapids area as well. This is a live look from Cedar Rapids. We can take that full. I believe this is on the toward downtown. Looks like, we're looking right over the river. So you can see the kind of shelf cloud starting to approach, the lightning, the thunder that's happening out there. You've been hearing it for a while. It hasn't rained. It's just been continuing to go. But the rain is approaching and going to be falling soon. But the stronger stuff, the heavier rain, and the at least the more intense winds are going to be coming in soon. Let's take Garrett and in the Road Warrior. Okay, Garrett, where are you? What's going on? Looks like a wall cloud.
Yeah, so as of right now, we are currently going south. I believe we had just turned off of, let's see, should be still on Blair's Ferry Road here. Yes, we are basically just off towards the west, a little bit of Hiawatha. Should be coming into the Cedar Rapids area as of right now. So this is looking pretty much almost entirely straight behind us, I believe, except now there's trees in the way. Have been really kind of struggling to look for really where some rotation may be. Again, the rain wrapping has really been an issue, and I seem to have lost that little lowering, which I hopefully can find here in just a moment. There it is. Certainly that seems to be the most evident in terms of kind of trying to piece apart what is scud, what is not, and I guess that's scud, meteorologically speaking, is anything that looks like a lowering but isn't rotating. And that's one of those issues, again, with the amount of moisture that we have. So that's going to probably enable a lot of potential false reports or any scud reports here. But it does certainly seem, at least radar-wise, to have a little bit of that rotation over top, kind of between Sheldsburg and Palo at the moment. So, yeah, I would imagine this is kind of looking off towards our northwest a little bit from what we've continued to see here. So for now, again, trees are blocking it. A lot of lightning, as you guys have kind of been mentioning here and there. But beyond that, yeah, that little wall cloud looking thing, I think, is about the best thing we've seen, at least here. In the meantime, again, with a lot of that rain, certainly obscuring a lot of our visibility here.
And by best thing, he means at least in terms of structure with these storms and the possibility of a tornado, that would be kind of a step if you see the lowering, and then you would see a funnel cloud come off of that. And then, you know, there's certainly some rotation in where that tornado warning is. There's also still a tornado possible tag on the severe thunderstorm warning that is going into Cedar Rapids as well. And we do have yeah, it's my radar is not updating on velocity for some reason on my end. So it just seems like that's kind of been the one area where there's been some rotation present, and it's been kind of trading off here and there. But there's at least, you know, been radar indicated rotation. There's been some reports of rotation, and we haven't really seen any features or any pictures come in. But as Garrett was mentioning too, very difficult to see. So what we're looking at in terms of rotation on the radar is that we're seeing the greens and the reds meet up. And there's some of that happening kind of here, that maybe be kind of the tighter rotation right there when you see the brighter reds and the brighter greens. And then if we go back to the reflectivity case in and we just kind of straight up look at the radar, I mean, it's just very heavy rain that's happening. So you're not going to get a lot of contrast to the clouds. And then you could also have a situation where the tornadoes are getting wrapped in rain. So they're just in the middle of all this water. We haven't heard of any damage reports, I believe.
No reports of any damage, and we really haven't had any extra reports when it comes to potentially where we're seeing areas of rotation, maybe where we could see a little bit more of a wall cloud, or if there's any more of those tornado reports at this time. Obviously, nothing is confirmed across the area there, but we've been showing you those pictures that Garrett's picking up kind of on the Road Warrior. So potentially some of that rotation still kind of near Sheldsburg, but there's still a lot of heavy rain that is still falling, of course. That makes things difficult to see, and we could potentially be looking at some tornadoes that maybe are a little bit more rain wrapped here. That would be even harder to see and kind of hard to track for folks. So that's sort of some of the things that we're dealing with here, and you kind of get that at times with these big summer-like patterns. We've got a lot of heat and humidity that we've been building here the last couple of days. All of that moisture, all of the instability and energy that is in place here, and we're getting just all of this lightning, all of this rain that continues to fall across the area here, which has led to even some flash flood warnings across the area just due to storms one after the other that are pushing across the area here. Looking at some more hail reports coming in from just Blackhawk County. You're talking about 1 inch to 1.25 inches, even near in parts of Tama County, seeing some hail out of about 2 inches. So that's significantly, that's some significant hail that
Yeah,
has
so that
fallen in
was-
some of those areas, of
We
course.
were kind of mentioning some of those. That was with those initially. The storms were producing some of that hail. So, yeah, inch to 2 inches in hail size, and that was the concern with the storms initially. And we're starting to see them kind of all come together now. So that hail threat is definitely going down. We're not seeing as many spikes of pink on the radar, and then we're starting to see all these storms kind of come together. There's still some pink off to the west toward Newton there, closer to the Des Moines area out to the west, but we are starting to see more of that wind threat take over, and it's possible because of the amount of shear and spin in the atmosphere, we could see some rotation that is embedded within these storms, but we haven't seen any big signals for it. There's kind of a weird feature on the north side of that storm there.
Thinking about that as well.
Around Walker. I'm just like looking, things catch my eye. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're
that's
south and west of
rotation
Walker
just
near
between
Urbana again.
Yeah, it's just been picking up in these spots here and there. So, yeah, we definitely have quite a bit of these little features that have been showing up, and this is now really turning into more of that wind and potentially kind of embedded tornado threat. So so then Garrett was saying back toward Newhall and Shellsburg. So there's some rotation there. We were kind of looking at that spot earlier, right between maybe Newhall and Atkins, and he was kind of looking back toward that. So there's definitely been a couple of spots through the area where there's some rotation, and then still this issue of the 70-mile-per-hour winds, which we haven't gotten many reports yet. I suspect that as we start to see these go through some more populated areas, we may hear a bit more, but
yeah, and we're starting to get at least some of those brighter colors there near Newhall as well, so potentially seeing maybe a little bit of an increase in that overall wind a little bit.
There you go. Mount Auburn reported a 70-mile-per-hour wind, so they put their siren off. That was up, I think, further north. We were just looking at it earlier, near the Vinton area, was it not? Yeah, Mount Auburn's northwest of Vinton.
Yeah.
So that's another storm starting to come in, perhaps, because they just sent that report that next storm coming in, which there is a warning. They're right on the edge of the two Weather Service offices. So they're saying 70-plus wind. But so we're starting to see maybe some more of these reports come in. We haven't had any confirmation or reports of a tornado recently, so that's good news. And then, yeah, you see our sky cam there. That's just a whole lot of lightning, a whole lot of water, just a whole wall of water and wind that's going to start to come into Cedar Rapids here shortly. We said about 5:25, so we have some rain starting to fall on the northern side of town. The stronger part of that storm is just starting to come in. And then we have the northern part of the storm that may have some tornado potential, and maybe even west of Newhall. We'll still have to keep an eye on that. So there's a lot of different pieces to this that are happening.
Yeah, and obviously we're starting to kind of see that progression that we were kind of wondering if we'd get a bunch of these storms kind of lining up in that line, and you certainly are starting to see that kind of, it's almost behind that initial storm that's getting ready to move here through like Cedar Rapids, but obviously we're getting all of this to kind of build, stretching from near like Manchester and then across all the way past Des Moines and down to the south and east a little bit more. So it'll be very interesting to see how they kind of interact with each other, whether or not we see a little bit of strengthening maybe, or whether or not it might hurt things a little bit as we move forward here. But obviously this was sort of the play where we thought we might get some kind of isolated storms earlier with that tornado threat, of course, and then obviously the wind threat would become the primary issue as we go a little bit later into the afternoon and evening now, and it will be sort of kind of a waiting game to see whether or not we see that take place here over the next couple of hours. But certainly in the Cedar Rapids metro area, going to be dealing with some heavy rainfall. That'll be blinding rainfall as you're moving across the area there. We might even be able to pull up a few DOT cameras if we want there along 380 just to give us an idea.
Yeah, up between Cedar Rapids and Center Point.
That might be a good idea.
I do want to mention something really quick. They have let go of the tornado warning. for, I think they let it go, or they said, I think it said canceled, but I don't know if they canceled just this part of it.
Canceled for Buchanan. It will continue for Benton and Lynn.
So
you can see
they're
it's smaller.
continuing this here. They're letting go of some spots, and then we have a little bit of an uptick in reflectivity as well. In some of these locations, there's still that feature near Walker. Then the issue here is the 70-mile-per-hour wind. So, oh gosh, a lot of clouds of ground lightning. Just saw that strike there in Cedar Rapids. So we have, let's turn on the lightning too. So we have multiple things going on. We have very heavy rain that's starting to come in. My goodness, a lot of lightning that's happening. And I don't know if it's going to get angry at us because we have a lot of things on there. Can we get an estimation of the lightning, because that is just prolific. But we have so much lightning happening. We can see strikes from this camera in downtown Cedar Rapids of strikes hitting the ground. You don't want to be outside or near the windows. It doesn't matter if it's a tornado or it's 70-mile-per-hour winds. The storm can do damage, and it's going to cause some problems. And we want to make sure that you're staying off the roads. 883 strikes just in this area. I mean, that's not a big area by any means. Of 880 strikes, nearly 900 strikes. And we got I-380 County Home Road, and there's certainly some dark skies and some heavy rains falling there. Could start to see some ponding on the streets in some locations as well. Oh, there was another strike right to the ground, and you can hear the thunder here as well. And then the other issue is the wind that's going to come in, and that possibility that there could still be some rotation of a tornado. But regardless of if it's one or the other, both are going to do some damage. Can we go back? I don't know if we've heard anything from Garrett recently, but can we see what Garrett in the Road Warrior is looking like? I know he's battling terrain and trees. So looks like definitely kind of the edge of the shelf cloud there that Garrett's seeing. And he was near the Hiawatha area, kind of looking back toward the storms in Lynn County. Garrett, what have you been seeing so far?
Yeah, sorry. Ooh, that's a little hot. Let me pull it back a little bit. There we go. We were kind of working our way northwards here on I-380, and I guess as we've been kind of watching this little cell continue to merge with that one south over Newhall and Atkins, I was starting to get a little uncomfortable with continuing eastwards on County Home here. So we did make the call at least here to go south again on I-380. I think we'll probably try to get closer to Highway 30 if we can, especially so we can stay out of this potential inflow notch that's kind of working its way kind of between Atkins to Palo, at least from what I'm seeing. So where we are for now, at least, we were just, again, right on that intersection of County Home and I-380. So I think that was getting to be a little uncomfortably far north into the rain wrapping and kind of where this whole area is. Visibility has certainly been a bit of an issue, of course, with a lot of that rain. But as we're kind of working our way south of it now, I kind of start to see we're getting better visibility. A lot of lightning here. So as I'm kind of panning off to the right, this was kind of where we were going to be looking for potential rotation earlier, as you guys were kind of talking about. But as we kind of continue to pan along this shelf cloud, you can kind of see how it bows and hooks back into it. And assuming radar is what it's doing, it should stick back out again further kind of that direction there. Nice little lightning strike. So this may very well be a bit of a potential issue as we do kind of continue forward here over the next couple of minutes or so, something to keep a very close eye on. I haven't had a chance to look at the Weather Service yet if they're going to end up issuing anything or not. Haven't really seen anything like too, I don't want to say it, nothing too obvious for now, at least. Again, a lot of that's been just trying to get out of this rain because I really don't want to be rain wrapped if we can't see if there is any rotation or not. So that'll be something that we continue to monitor for. Again, I do think this, at least from what I've been seeing, at least just off towards the west of the Cedar Rapids area as it continues to move its way in, does kind of look a little bit more of a kind of a back-end downdraft starting to kick up some winds a little bit, which typically is where we're going to start to see some of that circulation, which, again, if that circulation is going to be anywhere, at least for now with the latest radar scans, does look like it would be kind of just off towards the east of Palo. So that'll be something we'll be keeping a very close eye on. And of course,
Yeah.
we'll be sure to ping you guys if we do manage to see anything else.
And we definitely can see some of those like kind of fingers coming out of the clouds and maybe some rotation. We've been getting some reports of rotation. There's been some reports coming in of possible tornadoes. But then we also now have this big warning box. And Kason, if you could highlight it, I know I just saw it come through that Johnson County is included in this now. I know that it gets mad because we have a lot of warnings going on. Can you at least see what they're saying in chat, what the warning is?
So this one's going to be for winds of 70 miles per hour here, obviously, and it will.
So
where's it at?
They've just covered the whole thing.
Pretty much.
You can see the sky is getting very dark. Okay, so now they did go tornado confirmed on that storms that we were talking about. So hold on, we got a lot going on. I know I want to address everybody in the room. We have the storms that are coming in here. A lot of lightning, a lot of cloud to ground lightning, and dark skies, heavy rain coming in. That is approaching the Cedar Rapids area, and it's pretty much right on cue. We're going to start to see the winds pick up. This extends north of Iowa City, and we basically have this whole area here, Benton into Buchanan, Delaware, and Lynn, and to Cedar and Jones, portions of it at least, and into Dubuque, that we have a warning out for 70-mile-per-hour winds, very heavy rain, possibility there could be rotation as well. Then we go in here, and they have just kind of encapsulated the other tornado warning because that one will expire in 7 minutes. And so they are saying now tornado warning for this one, which is confirmed. And there was a report near the Urbana area, northwest of the Urbana area, which would be right about here. And there's, still a separation between these storms. So there could be some rotation that's happening still on the front end of these storms. There's been some features around Center Point and Walker. I would suspect it's maybe what's going on here. And this is kind of a bit of a distance that we're getting away from the radar. We've had issues in Vinton before with being able to see things clearly here, but there's just some of these spikes in color. It's very hard to say what the situation with this, and then it would probably be pretty hard to see in terms of the rain as well. So do you have any other information?
That's the spot that they're talking about right there,
right
near Vinton.
I know what I'm talking about.
Right there. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I hope so. So north of Vinton is where, just kind of in between there?
Yeah, they're saying, near Vinton is that particular area there with that tornado warning that they are kind of highlighting could potentially be where that area of circulation is kind of located there. So you're still talking about near Urbana, Center Point eventually here. This is moving its way to the east at about 40 miles per hour as these storms sort of have been moving across the area here, but potentially seeing that area of or where we have that confirmed tornado, at least at this point here, certainly would be right around maybe in there, as we just got a latest maybe radar scan, but there's still kind of looks like there could maybe even be just south of that a little bit we could see. So anywhere around that Vinton, Urbana area is where we're likely seeing at this time where that potential tornado is at, as that is confirmed on the ground tornado right now.
So the Weather Service is basically saying we are sending out, they sent out a large warning. They are just saying that they're just trying to, make sure that everybody understands the amount of, the storms that are coming through. We kind of were talking about either we were going to see kind of one line of storms come through or two. Oh my goodness, look at that view on the sky cam. Take that thing full. That is the storm coming in right now of the, that's water. That is a lot of water. And a lot of wind.
As a Florida girl, that's maybe what you see down in Florida, given all the humidity and the heat that we've experienced today.
Tropical, 80-degree dew points. That is, I think it's maybe worse than what Florida is experiencing. But
probably is today.
That is a tropical air mass, and so that's a wall of water and wind coming in. There have been reports of 70-mile-per-hour winds that the Weather Service is saying have been coming in right now, and that is just quite the view out there. Is getting dark, and it is going to start to pour. It's going to start to come on down.
Pour. Yeah.
Our weather station likes to say it's raining cats and dogs when this happens. So that is going to be true. Did they issue so no, that's the other warning. There's so many. they're saying 60 to 70 mile per hour winds heading into the Cedar Rapids area. Yeah, I see right there.
I can see.
So
we can pull up.
we can go back to max 1.
Yeah.
So you can see the leading edge of this storm. So that's going to look like the scary part. And you're going to have this shelf cloud that comes in. And behind it, rain's going to start to fall, and it's already falling. But this is the wind. 60 to 70 mile per hour wind starting to surge in. So this was the immediate concern here. So there's 65 estimated by the radar, and you know, a lot of those coming in. The ground reports could be different as well, because we're estimating things a little bit above the surface, but we have now some indication of these bright colors here on radar. That's coming toward Highway 100, and so this is on the northwest side of Cedar Rapids and heading into the Robbins area. Just picked up there. Oof. And so 60 to 70, maybe 75 mile per hour winds going to be coming in toward the Cedar Rapids area, and there's a tornado warning to the north, where there have been some reports of rotation and some tornado reports, but to the south, it's the wind threat. So Cedar Rapids not included in the tornado warning, yes, included in very strong winds heading toward the city right now. And this is heading down to the south and east, heading in with very, very heavy rain and a lot of lightning, going to be moving toward the Cedar Rapids metro, approaching the northwest side toward here into Hiawatha, northeast Cedar Rapids.
Look at the wall of
Marion.
Water coming.
Yeah, there's the rain. And I know that you know, the reality is I was here on August 10th, 2020. I know there's been some of those things kind of creeping up about the derecho and such. They're not all the same. We're talking about 70 mile per hour winds. That's half of what happened in 2020. But these storms can still do damage. So we want to make sure that we are still taking the precautions, staying away from the windows, going into the lowest level of your home, and we are making sure that we're just taking these still seriously, regardless if you're in the tornado warning or you're in the severe thunderstorm warning. Powerful winds starting to move in. So there's I-388 County Home Road, and you can see how dark it is, and the sun this time of year doesn't set till 8:30. So very dark, heavy rain starting to come down, and that's I mean, not even the beginnings of it. Yeah, there you can see from the sky cam. So just a whole lot of water coming in, and we're going to start to get into it even more with the wind starting to pick up as well. So definitely been a surge of wind here. So I know the tornado warning's popping up. Ignore it. This is the severe thunderstorm warning for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds coming in toward the Cedar Rapids metro area right now, and going to get into the northeastern portion of the metro first, heading into downtown. Within the next, we're going to see this within the next 5 minutes here come across the city, with some of those stronger winds starting to pick up and then the heavier rain starting to fall. So they're still saying 70 mile per hour winds. That's going into the Cedar Rapids metro area. We then have storms still to the northwest that have the tornado warning on
them. And that's
them.
kind of one of the things we're looking at here. If we're in Cedar Rapids right now, this is kind of maybe what is this initial sort of a first kind of line or sort of storm, but you can see off behind it, there's still plenty more storms that are rolling through the area. And man, that was some loud thunder right there. Yeah, that might have, maybe that hit our tower a little bit.
That sounded close.
You never know. It could certainly have hit our tower. But this is kind of just the start of that there as it is moving into the area. But there's tons of wind around here, as well as that confirmed tornado that we haven't had too many other reports on. But we were looking at that near kind of the Vinton area, near Urbana as well. Just some loud thunder and tremendous lightning that is moving through the Cedar Rapids metro area for right now. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any other reports at this time of potential rotation on that storm. We still might be seeing at least a little bit of that on radar at this time, and looks like they've just dropped that down to a not a confirmed tornado warning, but
just radar confirmed, radar indicated rotation. So yeah, it doesn't appear that they're seeing much evidence. My God, it has been some loud thunder, though. And I know that people have been saying that there's been quite a bit of it here, but we do have the just continuation of of the lightning and the thunder and the strong winds now, and it is going to persist. You put the lightning back on that there, Case, and I know we have like you're trying to get to the other camera.
Yeah, I'm just trying to move stuff, but you can see all of that lightning right there. I'll do the kind of the query to kind of give us an idea of how much lightning is just in this particular area right here. So we're talking not a large area. Obviously, it does include Cedar Rapids, and we're talking about over 1,000 lightning strikes here, expanding kind of from, you're talking Benton, Buchanan, Delaware, parts of Lynn County, and then down into Johnson County a little bit. This small area with kind of this first initial wave of storms, we're looking at over 1,000 lightning strikes that we've seen as these have moved across the area here. Looks like we've still got stuff up. I know we just lost the monitor here on the side just a little bit. So this is intense. You're obviously hearing it outside. You've got tons of lightning, tons of thunder that is ongoing right now. Some torrential downpours that the area is facing here. So we're talking about potentially some ponding on the roadways. That could be impacting travel. I'm assuming it's going to be very difficult to drive right now for folks who are traveling north into Cedar Rapids here. I would recommend get off the road and maybe seek shelter. If you're coming from Iowa City, heading north towards Cedar Rapids there on Interstate 380, very, very difficult travel is going to be ahead for you folks there who are driving. I'm just working on getting our south Skycam kind of set up there. Obviously, you're taking a look there. That's, what is that? North, that's Highway 100 there, okay, in Cedar Rapids. So you can see that heavy rain that is falling across parts of the area here. So that's what we're dealing with. It's not just the wind, it's the rain. That's a live look from our south Skycam. Tons of lightning that's ongoing. There's sort of that shelf cloud that just passed over the north side camera not too long ago. We're kind of in the thick of it here now with that heavy rain that is moving. A lot of folks exiting from the south there on that camera. You folks heading north that are getting really close to Cedar Rapids right now, that's going to be some very difficult travel. You're certainly going to be needing to hit your brakes, maybe putting those hazards on and slowing way down, given the fact that we're going to be dealing with quite a bit of torrential downpours and a lot of heavy rain here, just given the overall profile that we've seen on these storms as they move through. Man, that was really close. That was close, wasn't it, Mitch? Yeah, that one.
Mitch is going to stay away from the door now.
I would stay away. We always say stay away from the windows and everything else. It's always a good idea there. And what are you pulling up there? Is that
the power outages?
Oh, we're starting to get some of those in.
There's Buchanan County with 1,500 out. Oh no, okay. They issued a tornado warning. Grayson, you got to mute the phone. But we have now a tornado warning for Cedar Rapids. My goodness, that scared me a little bit. But we have some power outages, 1,600 out in some spots. And now, well, there's kind of that wrapping up happening on the velocity, and so there's a possibility that there could be some rotation occurring. That would be very, very close to like right here. And so that's right around the just the northeast side. I mean, there's Blairsbury Road.
There's Lindale Mall right here on the top side of that. I'm going to underline it.
Mitch, you got to mute your phone. We have, so he's being warned, but we have let's zoom out of this. It's hard to see what's happening here. If we can zoom out of it.
Yep.
So you can take the camera and we can see there's some sort of feature there where things are wrapping in around the Marion area, northeast side of Cedar Rapids. It's very hard to say. You can take that camera, Jacob, or at least in one of the boxes so we can see what's happening. So I don't know if this is doing the total justice. I mean, we can hear it outside, but I mean, very heavy rain starting to come on down, and it's just starting to kind of get into that Blair's Ferry area there. But we have the tornado potential that exists now. It's really hard to say with some of these features. Let's see what the Weather Service, if they're giving us any information on this as well. But they're saying Urbana spotter with that there's a tornado on the ground southeast of Urbana heading into Lynn County. and then that would be the northern part of that storm, and then we have the southern part of it.
Yeah, so that warning towards the
Sirens
top
are going
there,
off, yeah.
that would potentially be where we're seeing that tornado on the ground, as Rebecca just said, near Urbana, and then obviously we just showed you some of that areas of rotation here in parts of Lynn County, possibly near Marion, where we've noticed at least a little bit of an uptick on that there. We might have had a little bit of rotation move not too far from our studio here on the north side of town as well before that particular warning that has come in. But just a lot at play here, from still seeing reports of tornadoes ongoing, lots of damaging winds, and a lot of heavy rain. That continues to be big issues with this just massive line of storms that is starting to kind of form up here a little bit as well. Have you seen anything else from the National Weather Service or any other reports?
They haven't said anything of in terms of the one that's now been issued for Cedar Rapids for that tornado warning. So they're just saying that over Cedar Rapids, over Marion near Cedar Rapids, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So, I mean, we're kind of looking at where it's wrapping up a little bit on that just in those greens and reds. We also do have this kind of cell merger happening. So we have these two storms that are starting to come together. Things can get a little weird when that happens. And so that's where there's some rotation. It doesn't necessarily look like that's holding together. And so we'll kind of see, but it doesn't appear they had any reports. But I think just because of the reports maybe that have been coming in recently, they're taking some precautions with it. I would just say, regardless, sheltering in your, away from the windows, interior room, and just to make sure that you're prepared for not only the possibility of a tornado, but also those very strong winds. And we have had some reports now to our northwest of 86-mile-per-hour winds coming out of Buchanan County and in Aurora. Okay, check. I mean, that's what's happening outside of our door here, Collins and F Avenue. It looks like nighttime. Now they're saying tornado confirmed with the Urbana storm. And so this is, they've gotten a couple reports around here of a tornado here and there that was coming out of Urbana. So coming out of the area here, Urbana would have been back here. And then they're saying, they were saying that there was a tornado going into Lynn County. So not sure if it was this or both, but some rotation out of center point. Camera shaking over in Marion, Highway 100 and Highway 13. And we've got a lot happening. So if you're anywhere and you want to leave where you are, definitely want to just stay put, because we've got a lot going on between the potential for some 70, 80, perhaps stronger winds, potential for a tornado. And either one, it doesn't matter if it's a one or the other, can cause damage, can cause problems. Look at the wind. Take that camera full there, actually, at Highway 100. I mean, you can see the wind blowing the rain across the road. Look at that. That's indication of some very, very strong wind there. You can see those rain kind of sheets that are just completely blowing sideways, and that's obviously leads to reduced visibility, that it's going to be very hard to drive if you are out and about. It's a very, very good idea if you don't need to be necessarily driving right now, or if you need to head out here within the next couple of minutes or so, that you do kind of hold off on things here. Obviously, we know it's a massive storm complex that we're looking at here. We've got tornado warnings, which anyways, you should be in your shelter since we have tornado warnings across the area here. We're looking at spotter reports out of Lynn County right now, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds near County Home Road and Highway 13 in Lynn County. So we're still looking at some of those just strong winds that just moved through the area, as well as potentially some pockets of rotation that have been passing over the kind of Marion area, where we could potentially see maybe a little bit of some spin-up tornadoes or anything at this time. So a lot we're dealing with, a lot to talk about. The weather certainly is quite crazy right now as it is pushing across the area. And so I don't want to ignore what's happening. Obviously this is a situation in Cedar Rapids. So kind of let's zoom out really quick and see everything that's going on. We don't have warnings, or we do have this warning actually, the severe thunderstorm warning that goes from Manchester and just to the west of Dubuque. So this is, I believe, still for 70-mile-per-hour winds. They're just warning this whole thing for 70. We've had some evidence of some strong winds, and we pull back out just to see kind of the whole extent of this. And I know the tornado warning is going to pop up. Purple box is a confirmed tornado in portions of Lynn County. And then we have some flash flood warnings that have been issued. And this is just to the northwest of Cedar Rapids, I believe, for that flash flood warning. We then have the Cedar Rapids tornado warning here, where there maybe was some rotation or perhaps a quick spin up that we could see. Regardless, also some evidence of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds coming into the city, which we had been seeing for quite some time. And we do have the very heavy rain happening as well. I'm trying to see the velocity and the rotation does not appear to be super evident with what's happening with that Cedar Rapids storm, but regardless, still some indication of some very strong winds. And then we have still this stuff back to the west, and there's a tornado warning that goes into Des Moines off of this one, and some strong winds here. And as this slides down to the south and east, depending on it's going to kind of take this southeasterly approach. This could then get into our western counties. Washington County has their fair today that started, I think, yesterday, and they've been fine for now, but that could change.
Okay, so new update. We'll be looking off to our the north and east a little bit more. They're going to be putting a warning out for parts of Delaware and Dubuque for 80-mile-per-hour winds, given that report of 86-mile-per-hour winds.
Actually, if you could go in on... so yeah, that's that storm. This came out of it was just to our west here. So we have this storm that we have reports of some tree limbs down or large branches down. And then if we could go to the velocity on this as well, you can definitely see the winds picking up with it. There are some little rotation markers as well, but there's also some strong. I don't know if you can jump to. I don't know which radar I'm on. There you go. So you can kind of see that that wind starting to pick up in these areas. So I'm guessing right around into Dyersville, and then toward the Holy Cross area, toward Dubuque, that's where those stronger winds are kind of setting up. So they're going to issue a warning for 80-mile-per-hour winds on that one. This did have a history earlier of producing some even stronger winds. Of the we had the 86-mile-per-hour report and some damage. And then they have 65-mile-per-hour winds in Marion. And then, it was Manchester, just back here, 54-mile-per-hour wind gust. And then Aurora, also around Buchanan County. That's where there was an 86-mile-per-hour wind. And so that's where this storm came from. And there's our Skycam. Did it get knocked down to the ground?
I don't know. And somebody's moving it. I don't know if somebody's in the back is helping us, or Brent
it might have gotten,
or they're moving it. So thank you.
Dropped or something as the wind came through. It's still working though, and there's just a whole lot of lightning and the rain, just the water coming down with that thing. And there's that 80-mile-per-hour. So this is destructive. So this is a warning that unfortunately we've seen a little bit of recently in the last couple of months, and we don't really see them terribly often, but this is setting off the cell phone alerts in this area where 80-mile-per-hour winds. So this is given a destructive tag for 80-mile-per-hour winds, and we've seen this storm also move through and lead to power outages in these areas near Highway 20.
Yeah, that would be the kind of Black Hawk. When we were moving into Buchanan County, we've had several thousand reports of power outages there in those specific areas. So, and when it comes to severe thunderstorm warnings, when we get that destructive tag, that's about as worse as it can get here. So this is where you need to be taking shelter, and we always kind of recommend it's like a tornado warning. You need to be finding that interior bathroom or get down into the basement if you can, because there will be a whole lot of winds moving through probably the Dyersville area right now, eventually moving into the east into Dubuque County, so places like Holy Cross as well as Cascade, and anywhere along Highway 20 there is going to be dealing with some intense winds, 70, 80 plus miles per hour, and we've gotten those reports of around 80 to even a few 86 6-mile-per-hour reports of those strong winds that will be moving through parts of kind of eastern Iowa, their extreme eastern Iowa, from Delaware as well as into Dubuque County.
And Kason, take a look at that. I know you're giving some great information because yes, that is a high-end warning. And look at that camera that is shaken there, a Highway 13, and we have just, the street lights rocking, people going very slowly through that intersection, and just these sheets of rain coming down. And this is the kind of stuff you don't want to be driving in. And we knew it was going to be close to this kind of time frame that between 4 to 9 p.m. And unfortunately, not everyone's going to be able to leave work and get out on the road sooner or be able to wait. And we get it. But if you can just wait for all of this to pass, it would be better than I think what that situation is looking like. But we have some strong winds still. It's been kind of just picking up again and again in those areas. Cedar Rapids kind of sandwiched between these two tornado warnings. They do have the confirmed tag. We haven't had any reports, at least, of the of any tornadoes. There's been 80-mile-per-hour winds, though, west of New Vienna. There's some reports of corn flattened around Independence, which we hate to see. And we have still some strong winds. And there's a tornado warning, right? I mean, there's not a lot of rotation that's necessarily happening. But I am not as concerned about the what's happening. Either it's tornado or it's wind. Both are not going to be good and should be treated the same. So we have had reports now in Lynn County of 81-mile-per-hour winds. So we have trees down in the Dundee area, which is near Independence, and the Backbone State Park area. And then we have that stronger storm going through Dyersville and toward the Field of Dreams. Hopefully it does not ruin the corn around the Field of Dreams. But we have then we have multiple reports now that we're getting that evidence of the 80-mile-per-hour winds. I would not be surprised if they maybe up that warning here in Cedar Rapids, in the Lynn County area. We'll have to see with that report, because we've just been seeing that wind, and it seems like, unfortunately, we kind of got through the front part of it, right? We were talking about that. Mm-hmm. We got through the front part, and now the second part of that storm is caught up to it, and that's what's leading to the additional uptick in the winds. They're saying Whittier. And have you heard of that town in Lynn County? I'm assuming it's northern, but it's Mitch does not know. But I'm gonna. I was like, he was born here.
Unincorporated county or community there in Lynn County. It looks like just
what is
west
it close to?
West of Viola. Viola, I know there. I will say those power outages in Buchanan County, according to Power Outage, are down from 1,500 plus to 39. There's about 950 people without power in Lynn County. That's a split between Lynn County REC, got about 400 and 555 for Alliant. Not sure where those are exactly, but we're starting to see those power outages pop up in Lynn.
Yeah, so that Whittier area is toward the Springville area is what it's closer to. And then we have some more video of the winds picking up here. You can take that full, Jacob. I mean, this is what we're seeing, and unfortunately we know what these views look like, and we thankfully are not, seeing things to the extent of 2020, where we were talking about 140-mile-per-hour winds and talking about all these trees, going down. We are seeing some larger branches come down. We're getting some reports of some corn flattened. Unfortunately, this can happen with these storms, these bow echoes. These are common features that we can see in the Midwest with these strong storms. And if you zoom out on it, we have this curve feature, and that is what a bow echo is. So it's that curve that's happening that is indicating this rush of wind that is coming with these storms. And we additionally have that heavy rain too. So you want to be away from the windows. You want to be in the basement still and staying away just from those exterior walls. And it doesn't matter if it's the tornado threat, it's the wind that's still going to be strong and can still do damage, and we're seeing that. The Weather Service is starting to tailor back some of these warnings. It's hard to say. They're canceling parts and then maybe keeping others. We're seeing some of those updates coming in, but there haven't been reports. They've taken out the confirmed tag, but the winds have now remained And I don't know, the New Vienna Fire Department is saying the wind topped 102.
We did have a report there of about 80 at first near New Vienna as well. And
if you go up there to the velocity, I mean,
oh man, yes.
There's definitely some strong winds surging with that. So New Vienna, just north of Dyersville, and that's where the wind, they're saying 102 mile per hour winds. My goodness. We can certainly hope that's not the case with the straight line winds. I will say there have been these little features of some wrapping up. I mean, the radars.
This is a little bit higher off the ground.
Away.
This isn't quite off the surface, but obviously, still, when we see that, it's a little bit concerning, of course. And then we're getting some of these reports where we've been to 80 miles per hour. People are looking at possibly closer to maybe 90 mile per hour winds, and we're seeing that at least a little bit higher up into the atmosphere there. But that's near Dyersville. We talked about New Vienna as well, as those storms. So you can see, sort of looking at that bright kind of blue area, Worthington, Epworth. This is going to be coming into your neck of the woods here in the next 5 to 10 minutes as these storms are moving in, and it's got a history of some very intense winds associated with them. So you need to make sure you're kind of staying away from that north and west side of your house as well. Could get some flying debris. We've got reports of trees being knocked down in some of these areas, power outages kind of along that Highway 20 corridor back off to the west a little bit. So that's some of the concerns that we have been seeing here, at least at this time, with this destructive thunderstorm that is tagged for 80 miles per hour. It'll be interesting to see whether or not the National Weather Service might want to move this up at least a little bit. It will be interesting to kind of see how they want to play with that. But anywhere that you're along this line of storms, whether that expands up through the Dubuque area, and of course down here through Monticello, and then through parts of Cedar County into Lynn County, through the Cedar Rapids metro area, all along that line, you're going to be dealing with those intense winds that are going to be moving through the area. Could have gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour, but plenty of gusts larger and higher than that. And this is kind of that widespread damaging winds that are always kind of really, really bad. They're not sort of the narrow path that we get out of tornadoes. This can do a lot of damage in a very short amount of time as these winds work their way across the area here. I know you're working on some stuff. What is that there? A 70 mile per hour wind gust just southwest of Holy Cross.
That's around the west of Dubuque area there. And then there's, the Weather Service has, dealing with a lot of these reports coming in. There's been just some, lots of 80 plus mile per hour winds that have started to come in with these reports. If we take we can box the Cedar Rapids sky cam right now that we have up. They put out that 80 mile per hour winds now for Cedar Rapids. Mm-hmm. So they have now pushed that out. So your cell phones are going to go off again because this is 80 mile per hour winds. Can we box the Cedar Rapids camera that we have up right now? Sky cam because here. There's the wind happening, and take that full. We can just see. Look at the flagpoles getting whipped around in the wind there. So we have some very strong winds. This unfortunately can lead to crop damage. This can lead to the tree limb damage. This can lead to power outages. You can see only a few people on the road. There's some of them out there, but if you have the opportunity to not be, that'd be great. The concern more so, I wish they'd get rid of the tornado warning because I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the wind. It's 80 mile per hour winds, and over a larger area is going to do more damage than maybe a brief tornado that's happening. So please don't focus on the tornado part. I want you to focus on the wind being the issue. We've been talking about this for the last several days, that the wind is going to be a problem. We're starting to get some of these reports more frequently of 80 miles per hour, and that is when it can become more of an issue with more damage occurring with those winds. Now, thankfully, another contrast to what happened with the derecho in 2020. I know this has been going on for a little while, but we had kind of that first batch that moved through, and now we have the second one that's starting to move in, and this is going to move on. And we have had that one rogue report of 102 miles per hour. We've seen this happen. There was another one in Benton County. Was that earlier this year? And we had 100-mile-per-hour winds.
It was at least in the 90s, I think, for
yeah.
sure.
So we've had some of these kind of isolated reports of that higher end, but largely it's been, from the 60 to maybe 85 miles per hour that we're seeing more frequently. That's still destructive.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. And the other thing that was just updated,
those
storms up there into Delaware and Dubuque, we were kind of just talking about it, whether or not we might see them upgrade this a little bit, given some of the reports, and that's what we'll be looking at there.
So that goes into Dubuque.
So that will be going into Dubuque,
Yes.
kind of the Bernard area as well. We might get a decent shot of this here on our Skycam when that gets a little bit closer as well. But you're talking areas like the Dubuque Regional Airport there. You've also got Highway 61, obviously runs kind of north and south there, kind of from the Quad Cities area all the way up to Dubuque and the Maquoketa area as well, which is a little bit further south.
Can we box the Cedar Rapids camera again?
That is a north-south road. You've got winds probably coming out of the north and west. Man, that is incredible.
Rocking,
I would take that full again. Take that camera full again.
Just look what happened in that little bit of change. Just a few minutes. We stepped away from it.
You've got cars off in the distance there that have their hazards on that are barely moving. I mean, traffic is at a crawl here. Those flags are... Man, that is incredible wind now moving through South Cedar Rapids. So it was sort of the northern side got hit first, us here at the station, the Marion area, just given kind of the track of these storms. And then eventually, now the southern half of Cedar Rapids, this is moving through. This is near the eastern Iowa airport, of course. You've got those very, very strong winds, 70, of course, now 80 miles per hour that are now moving through the southern half of Cedar Rapids here. Quite a bit later than the northern side, but yes. Some destructive winds, that's for sure.
And what happened was we saw those two storms kind of meet up, and then it just really picked up on that southern side once again. And, almost as fast as we saw it pick up, it's starting to relax as well. So, it is progressing. It's moving through. I know it feels like it has been a long time. It has been a while because we had just kind of back to back those two storms move through. They've kind of merged into one. And what I want you to do too, Kason, if you could quickly put the velocity on, because I want to show kind of the contrast of what's happening here. And so we have the potential for some 70, 80 mile per hour winds here in Cedar Rapids. And then I want you to go north toward that Dubuque storm and see the difference in the velocity. Look at that. That is a clear indication of some much stronger winds occurring here. It's going through Dyersville, Worthington, Epworth, Bankston, Holy Cross that we're getting some of those reports from. So likely just entering the Epworth area. And my high school band director lives there. Hopefully they're sheltering with the kiddos. That's where the stronger winds are going. And, they're 80 and 90 mile per hour winds. We've had some reports, at least one report in New Vienna of 100 mile per hour winds with this. And it can't be out of the question that maybe some of those isolated gusts pick up there. But this is to be treated like a tornado situation, because a tornado, we'd be talking about going through a part of a town. This is going through a county that we have this line of winds that could be 70 to 90 miles per hour. And barreling toward the south and east, heading along here toward just basically right through Highway 52 and Highway 20, along Highway 20, and that's going to go right into the Dubuque area. I was going to turn the Dubuque camera around too. I was thinking about 5 things happening, but we have the strong winds here. You can see right on the edge, they're going to start to come in toward the Dubuque area with that possibility up to 90 miles per hour. So that's also coming with some very heavy rain. We've been having rain here for quite some time, and we have the lightning that has been prolific, and the water, and we're going to start to see things,
it's
thankfully
blowing.
Yeah, it's still going. It's picking up here now and again around Cedar Rapids, but we are going to see it start to calm down. We will start to see it calm down here in the Cedar Rapids area. It might take another 5 minutes on that southern side, but we still have a lot of heavy rain and the lightning behind it too. That's still going to lead to the the heavy, that just like uncomfortable feeling because of just how heavy the rain is, how prolific the lightning is. There's a new warning now back toward Tama County. as these storms have been coming in, we were kind of watching this as well. So this is now on that southern side, that southern flank where these storms have a 70-mile-per-hour tag on it. This is the southwestern corner of Tama and Newton. This would then enter eventually into the Iowa County and Keokuk County areas, and then everything's just going to continue to the south and east, and still basically untapped atmosphere into the Quad Cities and into Illinois, where this could potentially continue. But this has been, kind of right on cue with some of the timing here that these storms are going to come in, and we are watching for a corridor of possibly some of the stronger winds, and we've definitely seen that happen around the Dubuque County area. And then we also have, out of the norm with the 80-mile-per-hour winds that have been reported as well around the Cedar Rapids area. Sorry, we can check the chat as well and see if they're saying anything else. There's and as we've kind of talked today, we talked about how we were going to get sort of those isolated storms as they fired up, and we've now hit that point here where we've got just almost one whole line of storms that obviously has a little bit more concentrated areas of some stronger winds with Delaware and Dubuque counties, and then through here into Lynn County, as well as Jones and Cedar, kind of on that eastern side of it, or northern side as well, but certainly are seeing those strong winds that do expand now on the southern side of this storm as well, which aren't directly impacting parts of our viewing area yet, but will be moving into Iowa, as well as Keokuk counties, Washington counties, parts of Johnson County as well. So we're seeing how this is kind of all coming together here now, starting to work its way, moving through the area here. I know we have a traffic cam. This is just outside of our area here. This is on Interstate 380 there with that newly warmed I-80, where we've got that newly warned storm that is just outside the area, but those are the conditions. We've seen it around here. You're going to have a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rainfall with these storms. You got a semi there that has its hazards on, because it's pretty difficult to drive at this point here across the area. We're still dealing with some intense winds here in eastern Iowa, especially on our southern sky cam, where it is still continuing to blow pretty hard, where we've got those winds 70, 80 plus miles per hour at this time. You can give you another live look there from that south camera. This is near the eastern Iowa airport at this point. With those flags, they're still blowing pretty hard, flapping around in the wind there. Those winds might be dropping just a tad bit compared to what they were not too long ago. But obviously still that concern for these strong straight line winds. You can see on the northern side, we've got a little bit better visibility now, not quite as windy. This camera was facing straight out at one point before these winds came in, and then they kind of pushed it to look straight down at the ground. We had to adjust that a little bit. So we've seen some of those reports coming in. It does look like we've still got power on in some of those areas, at least some street lights. It will be interesting to kind of see how those impacts are to some of the power issues that we've already kind of seen, and as these storms start to exit off to the east a little bit. This particular, go ahead. I was just going to say there have been reports. Holy Cross came in with another report of 97. So they went from 70 to about 6 minutes later of 97 miles per hour. That's heading toward the Dubuque area. We also have some flooding west of New Vienna that's occurred. I know, we have our Dubuque camera as well, but like you said there, we're starting to see that change in the Cedar Rapids area. If we could take Max 2 really quick, actually, this is also what's happening temperature-wise, that we had a 90-degree temperature and it is 70, and that is so much of a difference than what's happening still down to the south. And this is what I'm talking about with the untapped atmosphere. It's 88 in Iowa City and 90 in Washington, so there is still that instability and energy, unfortunately, down to the south. So as these storms move through, they could still maintain their strength or strengthen down to the south and east. We still have some of these reports coming in close to 100 miles per hour around that Dubuque County area, and then the potential still for 70 to 80 mile per hour winds moving out of the Lynn County, moving through Lynn County rather, and starting to move out of the Cedar Rapids metro. I mean, things sound a lot calmer here on the northeast side. South side still dealing with some of that heavy rain. The other thing, though, is these storms are starting to pick up in speed and going to continue to progress to the south and east. So what does happen with these bow echoes is that we do have a tendency for these storms to then accelerate, and that kind of adds, unfortunately, to then the strong winds with these storms. Mitch, do you have any updates over there?
Yeah, so probably a good point to make is that as we're looking at stuff here in eastern Iowa, if you zoom out a little bit, if one of you wants to do that, this tail goes all the way into the Des Moines metro area, and we're starting to see power outages there. We've actually cleared up a lot of the power outages on our side of the state. Polk County is reporting more than 4,100 people without power. You're in my ear, Jake.
Well, I think
and
we lost.
We just lost power, and there's maybe we're on
hit
air.
By lightning.
Yep, we just took a shot.
We got our picture back. If you want to let them know that the prompter got messed up, that would be great. But there was a report of in Des Moines of a tornado in the metro
saw
as well.
Saw some chatter about that. So yeah, you've got a lot of people without power there.
Yes.
We're down to, it looks like everybody that was everyone that was Alliant that didn't have power, almost everybody's been cleared up there in Lynn County. RAC customers, you still got about 600. And again, people in Buchanan have more or less been cleaned up. But now, obviously, we keep an eye on the Delaware and Dubuque counties and everything going to the east as you track those. But yeah, it sounds like, the Des Moines metro might have just got knocked by something there.
There was a Cheryl in Dubuque County. The emergency manager is saying the city's without power there. And then we also have some reports in Swisher of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, but they're kind of starting to get back into some of those stronger storms. But yeah, in the Des Moines metro, there were reports, and they did let it go, but they had some damage between Urbandale and Clive. And so there were some reports of what seemed like a tornado happened and did cause some damage. That probably is part of that. And then that's still some strong winds coming along with that storm. And then we have this one in Dubuque, and we have the sky camera in Dubuque, where we got the same green look to things. And I know people were asking about the green sky, and it's as we have this rain coming down, it just as we have still, the sun's out, and we get this these different colors because of the amount of water in the sky. It's leading to that eerie look to things. This is also in Dubuque, where it's starting to get a lot darker as those clouds are. Dodge Street in Dubuque. That's where the clouds are starting to get darker there as well. So you can see the storm starting to approach the Dubuque area, and unfortunately some very, very, very strong winds starting to get, right on the doorstep there of the Dubuque area. Yeah, and obviously a lot of those winds where we're looking at those brighter colors, some of those moving through Epworth right now, Bernard, and then eventually, probably within the next couple of minutes, we'll be at the Dubuque Regional Airport there, and then eventually into the city itself of Dubuque before this storm continues its track to the south and west into parts of Jackson County there. But Otter Creek, Highway 61, that's going to be very difficult travel because we're going to have these winds generally out of the kind of maybe north and west, or a little bit more westerly, and you're talking about a north-south road at that point, which could be a struggle to drive on. You can see there on that particular DOT camera, look at the rain once again. It's moving pretty much sideways across the ground there. That's an indication of those very strong winds that are moving there.
I think Jacob's trying to talk to you.
I think
he's in my ear. Everybody.
Oh,
he's in my ear.
He's telling everybody.
I'm hearing him. Yep. So that's just an indication. We saw that here in Cedar Rapids. This is over in Dubuque County now, where we've got those very strong storms that are moving in. And I do want to make it clear, we do have the tornado warning, and there's not been any reports out of this. This could be, there's some rotation on the kind of front edge of it near Olin. And there's some maybe back toward Mount Vernon, just like some little dips here and there where we're seeing some of these just spots where there could potentially be rotation. That's why they're keeping that tornado warning. We then, though, have the just wind that is on the front side of this thing that is picking up, and
Cedar Rapids unfortunately kind of caught both of those storms that then came together, and now this is going to start to surge to the south and should move through a lot faster through these other communities. And I'd be curious what our southern camera looks like now, because I'm assuming it's maybe a little bit of a calmer look. There's still wind going on. There's one car that's still pulled off to the side of the road. If we want to take that Cedar Rapids camera, we can even take it picture in picture. But we have the still, I think they took Cedar Rapids down to the 70-mile-per-hour winds. And then there's so many warnings. There's one warning going out of Cedar Rapids for 80. There's another one coming in for 70 with these storms. So there's a lot of warnings happening, but basically 70 to 80 mile per hour winds exiting Cedar Rapids and then heading into the Cedar and Jones County areas. And we have then that extending into, of course, now Washington, Keokuk, Iowa, Johnson counties for 70 mile per hour winds.
Yep, and this is that brand new warning box right there. You can see, obviously, it's massive as these storms start to maybe start to increase speed a little bit, which is kind of what we're expecting. They're trying to give enough of a warning out ahead of these storms now for people to get to shelter, maybe driving to get somewhere or get home in time, and let them know that we've got winds that are probably going to be 70 to 80 miles per hour. Once again, you can see it's going to include Williamsburg. That will include Iowa City and Coralville as well, and then expand its way south through much of Washington counties there and all of Keokuk County. So that is going to be sort of the southern kind of flank of this line of storms that is going to start tapping into that what hasn't been intruded on. A lot of energy that is going to be there for these storms to continue to kind of probably maintain their strength. You're going to have those gusty winds and quite a bit of lightning as well as we continue to hear all of the thunder here in Cedar Rapids. How about...
Oh, no.
Ooh,
oh,
Got,
gosh. Oh, that made me jump.
Man, that was...
On that note, we're up to about 4,100 people without power in Lynn County.
I will say...
Alliant Energy has just reported just under 4,100 their own.
Yeah, I just clicked on it and it had 5,400.
It's up to 54 on Alliant.
Around the Cedar Rapids, yeah, around the Cedar Rapids metro. And there's quite a number of outages going on around Cedar Rapids. Oh, I don't know. That one might have taken more out. My goodness. I just got someone messaged and said that it didn't seem that Power Outage is reporting the correct numbers for Alliant. So I was on the Alliant website.
Sure, yeah. And poweroutage.us, for those who got familiar with this site about 4 years ago, it kind of consolidates all the energy companies in the area around the country, really, and tracks those. I've got reports from somebody living in a home on the southeast side of Cedar Rapids, and maybe this is something with older homes. They've had, with the wind and the rain the way it was, have had water coming into their homes through, the old cracks in those and bad seals and getting a little bit of water in some of those. I don't know if that's a common thing, but at least one home
I will
watching
say,
that.
Unfortunately, it may be a combination with the wind, but it may also be the fact that we do have a flash flood warning in Cedar Rapids that we have not been able to really talk about. Yeah. But there has been some heavy rain occurring, and unfortunately, we caught those two storms, and that is what has led to it piling up. And we picked up an inch and a half here so far, at least on our gauge, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more that's happened elsewhere. And I'll see if, oh gosh. There was a rainfall rate that measured 8.5 inches an hour. It thankfully only fell for 15 minutes.
You got two of every animal in the ark there?
Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
That's the issue, though, that we have, that this prolific rain. And the good news about it was that we were going to have the rain moving through faster, but we do have still some very heavy rain coming down. So that may be part of the issue that some people may be seeing, unfortunately, some flooding because of the massive amount of water coming down. So we have these warnings still for some 80, 90 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, the big power outage in the Cedar Rapids area, according to Alliant site, 3,700 plus. The northwest side is where it's kind of centralized and kind of by time check right around there on the other side of the river from downtown. But that's a big swath of the power outages we're seeing in the Cedar Rapids area and a few others kind of scattered around, but that looks like it's centralized over the northwest side, just down there in the old Time Jack area, just south of Ellis Boulevard.
Yeah, they did. They have another flash flood warning that's come out there. We have Dubuque now on that camera. The wind's starting to come in. I don't know if that was Garrett with the Road Warrior.
Yeah. He's trying to stay out ahead of everything right now with these intense winds moving in. He's trying to stay out ahead of these storms before the winds inevitably will roll over him. But you can see over in Dubuque right now, there's some heavy rainfall that is starting to come down. Doesn't look at least too windy, besides the camera bobbing up and down a little bit there.
The city of Dubuque may be very lucky with at least the more intense wind appears to be kind of to the south there toward the airport, and then it's heading toward the Zwingle area as you get into is that Jackson County?
That'll be Jackson, like places like Lamont and everything else.
Yeah, there's still some strong winds in Dubuque, but perhaps some of those strongest getting on the south side of the actual Dubuque area, and then that's going through Piasta, Bernard, and then heading toward Lamont, as you said. And then we have still the 70 to 80 mile per hour winds that are heading into through Cedar and Jones counties. The Weather Service also said it's possible that there could be, these spin ups that happen. If we could take the Road Warrior, and I know Garrett was in this area, and he was saying he was seeing a lowering. I'm curious if he's looking towards still that Olin area around. There's kind of two areas of rotation right on the edge of this, but southeast of Anamosa near Olin, where you're seeing that little inflow. I'm guessing that's what he's looking at. Garrett, what are you seeing out there? Maybe not. I don't. He might be. I know he's out there. We don't know if there's been some cell service affected too. There's definitely some lowering. Oh man, hang on, Road Warrior, hang in there. This would be, I am guessing that he is looking toward the Olin area.
I know he mentioned
that he was over there earlier. So I'll see if I can get some confirmation from him. But I think that they've been having some issues. But that would be just northeast of Olin, and this is all kind of inching to the. It seems if we can.
I can back it up here just a little bit.
Yeah, we can see kind of how that has been moving. It seems like northeast kind of. There's been like a lot of weird jogs here and there. Yeah, Garrett's been having trouble hearing us. So it seemed like we do have the potential there, though, that there's some lowering and rotation occurring in that area. So south of Wyoming, we're getting some information.
And
if this is. He's saying possible tornado on the ground. So that's exactly where we're looking.
So that's where we're looking at right now, is right there south. Well, it would be.
It looks like it maybe froze, yeah. So there's then that additional potential uptick in rotation, and there looked like maybe he was seeing some sort of funnel coming down, and embedded within this is where there's the tornado warning.
There it comes.
There's then the potential for that 70 to 80 mile per hour winds as well. So then this would be a corridor of some even more intense wind. And let's see. We're getting a clear shot at stuff now, but it's hard to say.
It certainly looked like when we saw that picture a bit earlier, there was potentially a funnel that could have been coming down here. But certainly you're kind of looking at the picture that Garrett is seeing out here, and when we look at that area of rotation, we can show it to you on radar as well. Near like Hale right now, as well as south of Wyoming is where we're kind of looking at that particular area where we could see some rotation. Garrett maybe showing us a bit of a funnel earlier. It was kind of hard to tell, and we had some laggy video and some difficult reception out there. But Oxford Junction, certainly a part of this new tornado warning.
Well, let's go to Garrett. Can he?
If he's back.
Garrett, go. He was saying that there is a. Maybe not. Maybe these are delayed messages. He was saying he was seeing a possible touchdown earlier, so perhaps that was what we were also seeing earlier. So he said it kind of came and went. There were funnels spotted southwest of Wyoming. So we're seeing some of those reports come in from now the Jones County Jones County Emergency Management. And then there's the shelf cloud with it. And hard to say, not really seeing too much in terms of that lowering or any funnels again, but they did issue a tornado warning on it. So that's just kind of within that, heading toward the Wyoming area. And Kaysen's kind of bopping in, doing some radar analysis, and he's looking at some of the correlation coefficient, which can show us other things outside of just the hail and rain. Maybe a little bit of debris showing up. So there's a little bit of this green color kind of spiking in that area where there's a rotation. So this is moving kind of in a weird motion, but around the hail area in Cedar County and Jones County, near the southwest of Wyoming toward Oxford Junction. Dubuque has a 66 mile per hour wind gust. So that's the airport, which was kind of it seemed like the stronger side of that storm. So we'll be curious to see what happens there. We can also take the Dubuque camera, and you can see the wind starting to rock Dubuque and the heavy rain coming down there. While I think people in Cedar Rapids taking a breath. We still have some heavy rain falling, and there's no wind outside. There's no wind on the northeast side. South side may still be dealing with it a little bit.
But we do have that flash flood warning as well. That is right over the metro area down to about the eastern Iowa airport. So we are still dealing with some rain in some parts, and we could see some urban street flooding taking place. So make sure you're very cautious of that if you are getting ready to go outside here in the next little bit, even throughout this evening. That flash flooding risk could certainly be there. But obviously, some of those destructive thunderstorms, they continue up near Dubuque, which is for 90 miles per hour. This is starting to kind of exit, or the leading edge of it, where we have those winds kind of have just pushed through kind of the Dubuque Regional Airport there, kind of moving into Jackson County a little bit more. I know we don't always cover Jackson County, but sometimes the folks in Bellevue have some viewers, so we've got you kind of in line to see this line of storms that'll be moving in relatively close here. But that continues to remain a destructive thunderstorm with 90 miles per hour as it starts to cross the Mississippi River into Wisconsin as well as Illinois.
They now up that to a 70 mile per hour warning, they continue that 90 mile per hour warning for Delaware, Dubuque, and into Jones County. Just that it's going to kind of clip. I don't know if they're making this a bigger one here with that warning all the way down now through Cedar and Jones.
Okay,
I think
so
is what happened.
It's the severe thunderstorm warning underneath.
Sorry.
Okay, so yeah.
So heading toward Tipton as well.
Yep.
And Clarence, just 70 to 90 mile per hour winds basically along this zone. You can see those brighter colors now that have kind of picked up in terms of the wind compared to what we were seeing earlier through Cedar Rapids. And so we have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues here. The tornado warning, where there could be an area of rotation and some more even intense wind. You can see this inflow. So we're talking about the winds going into the storm and wrapping up. And that's where we could be seeing the tornado potential and have some reports of some funnel clouds. And then you have the addition of the winds that are on the edge and behind some of this rain going on at around the really 70 to 90 mile per hour mark potentially. We do still have some rain falling in Cedar Rapids. We do have still a lot of lightning. We've been hearing some of clearly clouds of ground lightning also occurring. And so still some intensity here, but the most intense part of this is now moving out of the Cedar Rapids area, and we'll be out of some of these warnings here shortly as that goes away. Now we do still have the flash flooding and the flash flood warnings ongoing outside of that. And that's going to continue for a couple of hours unless we kind of see that we don't see any reports from it. But we have still the potential for some gusty winds on the southeast side of Cedar Rapids. That stronger part starting to move out of the Cedar Rapids area and heading in toward now has gone through Cedar and Jones counties, heading close to Iowa City And I think Iowa City's warning is maybe for 70. Oh no.
No, that's 80. It's 70 down there.
70 here.
Yep.
We have some 80 and 90 mile per hour winds possible here. So this has been 70 so far, and this is heading into Iowa City where it's going to start to get intense. You have seen this happen in Cedar Rapids. You've seen this happen by Dubuque, and we have the heavy rain and the stronger winds that are going to start to move in here. And this is 70 mile per hour winds. It doesn't matter if it's 70 or 80 or 90, still can do damage. It still can cause problems. And there's still Garrett's image as he's going through there, and just can see the shelf cloud in the distance. And they have this wall of rain and wind that's going to be coming on through here. And so we have quite a bit that still has to get through our area before it exits completely and moves out. I think they're updating kind of the location of this thing because it's moving kind of funny, but we have this possible rotation here through Cedar and Jones counties, and this is going to be right on that Cedar and Jones County line. And Garrett's got to look at this. So if we had a tornado, we would probably see it. And there's at least a shelf cloud there, and there's been some lowering, and it looked like we were seeing the funnel earlier, and I think Garrett was also seeing that happen. And then we had now those winds really that are going to start to be that main concern, which is, from the get-go, the issue. We have the winds going through Dubuque. It seems like the strongest of that has now pushed to the east of the Mississippi with that leading edge. Still could be some gusty winds. Oh gosh. Ooh. Oh, sorry. That was a close one. What? And there's a spider on the weather wall. But just it's a real Monday today. We have some, some strong winds still on the back side of this, and there's still some heavy rain ongoing and a lot of lightning happening, and then this is going to push to the east of the Mississippi. So still could be, with some of those brighter greens there, some maybe up to 80, but you're going to see that 90 kind of happening on that leading edge here. And then it should start to calm down a little bit more in Dubuque. Still going to be some pretty strong winds though. And then they've, extended, just right where it said they cut it off here, and they extended that to the east with a 90. I think they're trying to give it a little bit more heads up. And then we have further down to the south, if we can take a look. I'm trying to check in. I know Garrett was trying to give us some updates on his end. Look at that shelf cloud. So there's definitely some interesting lowering happening, but it looks pretty kind of, we talk about the scud. And so we do have some of this maybe lower hanging, these lower hanging clouds. The rotation doesn't necessarily look quite as impressive as it did earlier in terms of what a tornado, we'll be looking for a tornado. He's in Oxford Junction, so he's looking right into it. So there could be maybe a little bit, but it doesn't appear to be any true lowering or anything like that. And we've seen maybe some of these reports of the brief spin-ups. Regardless, some strong winds heading that way, and we have the potential for some 60 to 80 mile per hour winds with this heading toward Wyoming, heading into Oxford Junction. You can see those bright blues. That's likely where some of the strongest of those winds are, and that's going to be heading through there. And then we also have 70 mile per hour, 72 being estimated, and that's pretty close to radar. What about this right here?
Yeah, I'll check that out here. We got about 75.
So a little bit higher. So we have those stronger winds coming in that way, and then toward Clarence, some of the leading edge of the strong winds maybe closer to 60 miles per hour, and then toward Tipton, there's a little bit stronger winds perhaps between Lisbon and Mechanicsville. And we still have some gustiness around Cedar Rapids, but that's going to continue to push to the south and east. And then we have those the 50 to 60 mile per hour winds that are heading through Marengo, Williamsburg, North Liberty, Iowa City, going to continue to push down to the south. The Washington County Fair started yesterday, I think, and they were, I just saw a post about it. They were talking about it too with the Weather Service, and they have this warning for 70 mile per hour winds down to the south. So Garrett still has the eyes on the shelf cloud there, and he hasn't said much. I know he's been having some issues with cell service, and we certainly have had some ins and outs here and there, but there's the lowering on the with the shelf cloud, and maybe you see kind of these fingers drop down out of it on the leading edge. And I'm not sure if Garrett can talk to us. It sounds like he's listening to me, but I'm not sure. You can turn his mic on and see if he chimes in at any point.
I can hear you guys, yes.
He can hear us. Garrett, what have you been seeing out there?
Hi. Yeah, hopefully we can keep the cell coverage here for at least a little while longer. Haven't been able to send much of anything. But yeah, for the most part, been really kind of watching this kind of continue to work its way through our area. Let's see here. For the most part, in terms of kind of where we're looking at this potential inflow notch, so this is looking, for the most part, straight west. I'm kind of turning our camera off towards the right here. So this is that outflow boundary going off towards our north. So as that kind of continues to bend its way in a little bit more and more, again, this is now looking straight west, right around where that, our lovely little pipe here, I do think is where we are kind of seeing a little like a convergence between these two outflow points. So you've got, again, that outflow coming in from the north. It meets again with that secondary outflow that kind of jets outwards towards our south. So you can kind of tell where that little divot is. And I do think it's, again, right where that PVC pipe is sitting. As of right now, we are still continuing to work our way kind of in between Oxford Junction and Lost Nation along Highway 136 here at the moment. We did possibly have a very brief touchdown not too long ago, or I guess probably maybe a while ago from now at this point. But if it did, it was very, very brief. We may have to go through our footage again to see if that was confirmed anything or not. But yeah, the rotation's been kind of just hit and miss there. But other than that, it's been something we've been just kind of keeping a very close eye on. Hopefully we can continue to keep more signal and let you know if anything else does happen out of this.
Yeah, Garrett, I think we saw in the when that was happening at the same time, we kind of saw it, and then it just then we got your messages kind of delayed. So I think like we were kind of seeing it at the same time, and we'll have to see, you know, thankfully, yes, it seems brief. It does look like that rotation's maybe picked up a little bit again around that clearance area, and then we have, you know, these possibilities. There could be these little quick spin ups. The main story continues to be, though, this wind, and there's certainly been, you know, a lot of reports coming in with the wind. There was the Dubuque Airport, we were kind of talking about, they were probably going to see some of the stronger winds. We got a report of 60, 66. Then it came in that they had an 80-mile-per-hour wind gust, which tracks with kind of what has been happening. And now we have those storms going through into Johnson County, and we have some of the winds picking up there. We have our Coralville camera as well, if we want to put that up, as the rain has been starting to pick up there. And the wind going to start to pick up there as well. Haven't seen as much evidence with the stronger winds in terms of things toward the 80-mile-per-hour end. 70 is still strong. 70 is still strong, not something to mess with. So we have this starting to enter into the Iowa City metro area, Williamsburg and North English as well in Iowa County, along I-80. I mean, if you don't have to go anywhere, just don't. Look out, it's 6:30. There's nobody on the road. There's a few people on the road, but there shouldn't be. But we have the roads cleared with how powerful these winds are. And so it was just kind of a question of how this was going to evolve today. And unfortunately, we have this big old line of storms that just came on through, and powerful winds with it along it. But there's a corridor of where we've had these stronger winds that have been, confirmed that we've seen 80 to 100-mile-per-hour winds. That's been into Dubuque and now scooting off into Illinois there. And unfortunately, there's a concern heading towards Chicago.
Yes. And
so now that storm heading into the Illinois area, and if it maintains its strength, there could be some of these strong winds toward the Chicago metro. That's only speculation at this point, depending on how much of it holds together to the east.
Yeah, it's been kind of evident, and we've seen it here, that sort of northern edge of that line of storms that move through Delaware and Dubuque County, and you're getting the 80, the 90 mile per hour wind gust is kind of that dominant part of the lineup there. The good news for us is most of that now has pretty much crossed over the river into Wisconsin, into northern Illinois there. That's where they will be dealing with those really, really strong winds at this point. The farther south you go on the line, there certainly will still be some damaging wind gust associated with that, 60 to 70 miles per hour, but they don't have quite the destructive tag on it besides some of those storms that are still working their way through parts of Cedar County. I would say near Tipton, you probably dealt with some stronger winds there. That's where we've seen some of those brighter velocities. That's also pretty close to where we've been kind of watching those areas of rotation there in parts of Jones County, which has kind of worked its way into far northeastern Cedar County now, where we continue to see just a little bit of that inflow. But things have really picked up there on that Coralville Skycam. We can give you a kind of a live look on that net there now. You can take that full if you want to there. Things, obviously, the rain increasing a little bit more. This is looking off to the north and west a little bit. So normally you can see the Coralville water tower back there, and you can't see it, at least at this point. So winds picking up there a little bit. Certainly could see some damage to trees. We've had a lot of reports of that. We've seen actually a larger kind of pine tree I've seen from the National Weather Service that has been completely broken off. That was in parts of Delaware County, of course, where those stronger winds were at. But that's really what we're dealing with, and those warnings obviously being extended further and further. You've got places like Iowa City and Coralville that are now getting into those strong winds that will eventually be going towards Wellman, near Kyoto once again, Sigourney. That'll be down there in Keokuk County as those work their way on in there. Where is that at? Where's that picture at? That's very ominous. If I don't know which, that is in Atkins right there. Man,
yeah.
That was. I'm not surprised with the intensity that with the storms that move through Cedar Rapids here, but it doesn't really matter where you are in the area at this point. You're going to see winds 60 to 70 miles per hour. Places like Cedar Rapids, we're on the back side of it now, as we have another loud clap of thunder out here. We're obviously still going to be dealing with the intense lightning, so you don't want to be going outside, at least at this point, even if you've got a little bit of damage, maybe trying to clean that up or survey what has happened. That can be very dangerous as well, just given the fact that we've still got all of this lightning that has been ongoing. There's been a ton of it, as you can see with those storms here now. Just the volume of lightning that is expanding all across eastern Iowa here has been quite difficult driving conditions. You're likely dealing with some of those impacts on Interstate 80, really all the way from kind of Des Moines through Williamsburg and into Iowa City as we've gone here over the past couple of minutes or so. But still that destructive severe thunderstorm warning tag there for Cedar County, and then 70s down through Johnson, Iowa, Keokuk, and Washington counties here.
And I was just kind of looking through, and there were some reports around Lynn County and Bertram that there were some 80 mile per hour winds, and there were some 70 mile per hour winds in southeast Cedar Rapids with some siding blown off of a house. In terms of, I've seen, you can see the camera rocking there in Coralville. The same thing we were seeing, the prolific lightning, the very heavy blinding rain with the torrential downpours with this tropical atmosphere.
We've called it tropical atmosphere.
Yeah, pretty much. But there were some reports of not reports, but got a picture from our engineer who was at the Hy-Vee in Cedar Rapids where the signs were knocked down, but the trees are standing. We're seeing some branches that are going down, but we're not seeing the large trees go down like what we saw in 2020. We do have power outages. It's going to take some time. We're not seeing those, high profile power big lines and power
transmission lines.
Transmission lines, that's the word.
And
we're not seeing those things going down. You know, we're having some lightning strikes and some issues in that respect. There are some differences between this, but these are still dangerous storms regardless. I understand the anxiety surrounding this when, you know, the lightning and thunder's been going on here for like 2 hours, and it's still noisy, but we do have, you know, at least going to be able to kind of assess the situation in terms of damage. Haven't heard anything, but that has been, you know, off the charts. We have had some trees down and some corn damage, and I'm sure we're going to see some more crop damage and tree damage, but kind of sparingly in terms of any massive damage at the moment. We do have a lot of power outages, and we have just a number of things we're going to have to kind of assess here too, but we still have the strong winds going on. So yeah, there's you know, over 100,000 without power in Lynn County, which, you know, probably a lot of that.
8,000.
100,000 in Lynn County that are served. There's only 8,000 out in Lynn County. That's a bit of a difference. So there's 8,200 out without power in Lynn County. I would imagine that some of that probably has to do with the lightning and hitting transformers.
I mean, we've had some of the power bumps here as we were kind of trying to switch on to our backup generators. So I wouldn't be surprised that some of those lightning strikes has given us some of those issues here. And I think the other thing, when we're talking about kind of comparing, when we think of derechos or these wind events nowadays, when it reverts back to 2020, we don't see quite the intensity of the winds for such a long period of time, which is what,
it probably felt like it was a while around here, but, you know, and we kind of ended up in a bad spot with this situation where we had one storm come through and then the second one just came through right after it. And if we were, you know, because Iowa State is going to get the one storm to come through, and so it wasn't, you know, still the same intensity with that, with what we had in 2020, where the wind stayed just that strong, when we're talking like 80 to 140 miles per hour for an hour's time. But yeah, there are some of those differences that have occurred, but these Bo Echo storms are going to present those similar kind of at least impacts. And then the question becomes, you know, in terms of derecho, which we are using the word right now, it cannot be classified as a derecho until this thing moves 450 miles. So if it does continue to the south and east, and depending on how far it does go, that would be when the determination is made of if this is a derecho. And it's certainly possible with still the ingredients and the energy that's off to the south and east, but that's something that will have to be assessed tomorrow. Regardless, this is just telling of, you know, these intense storms can still happen. We have to talk more about straight line winds being an issue and being you know, still destructive in that sense, and we're seeing it in the area. But all you have to do is, you know, stay informed, stay aware of the situation, and react once these storms start to come through the area. But we have still severe thunderstorm warnings. The strongest of the winds starting to get out of Dubuque, and a lot of it's going through Maquoketa now. We have still a tornado warning that's in place, but we haven't had many reports. Garrett was just seeing, you know, the shelf cloud with that storm off in the distance, and there could be a few little spin-outs on the front side of this, but it's largely the 70 to 80 mile per hour winds that are going to cause the problems now across the board here, just all along this line that is moving rather quickly. I don't know if we can get, let's see if we can get kind of a speed on these too, how fast they are moving.
They have definitely picked up, though, at least over the last 30 minutes or so. You can see how quickly they've started to work their way, especially that southern end into Keokuk and Washington counties there.
So they're going, I mean, there's one that says 40 miles per hour. And yeah, you know, they're surging pretty fast down to the south and east, it seems. There's 50 miles per hour. Let's put a fan on this whole thing and just kind of track out the timing of this as it moves out. And I almost want you to do it behind the initial line of storm so we can kind of get where the strongest winds are.
Okay.
And so we can talk about, you know, when we can expect some of this intensity. And you can see that in Coralville that, you know, there's still some very heavy rain happening, but the intensity of the winds are starting to back off a little bit. We do have flash flood warnings to the north and west here. Thankfully, these are a little bit more progressive down to the south, so hopefully they can escape those flash flooding issues. Iowa City's been really dealing with the rain lately, but yeah, we just get it, just kind of scoot away. Don't go to the Washington County Fair today. The rest of the week, beautiful weather, Washington County Fair. And that is just because we got quite the water going on and the wind that's still going to be coming down that way. But going through the city of Dubuque pretty much now in terms of kind of the edge of that storm, we have Washington around 7:10. Muscatine around 7:20, Davenport 7:40. So that's going to start to move out of the area. And we were talking about around the 9 o'clock time frame. I think that's probably about what we're going to see with the edge of some of this rain. The worst of the wind is probably going to start to get out of our area fully here within the next hour, I would imagine 7:30. We'd probably see some of the strongest of that wind kind of exit. There's still these warnings on the back edge of these storms, and there's still some rain and some lightning going on and some gusty winds that could still be around that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. But look at Cedar Rapids, I mean, getting out of some of that heavier stuff here. And we still are technically underneath this warning, but that'll likely be removed soon. And then Garrett's taking a look at the leading edge of this storm that came through Cedar Rapids earlier, now off to the south and east. And he just said that he was able to see something. He said they're heading toward Highway 30 to kind of try to get back home as he's been following this storm for a bit. The tornado warned storm is still covering portions of Cedar and Jones. I'd imagine that gets canceled here soon. And then this is going into Maquoketa area, and then Clinton and Jackson counties primarily. So Garrett, what have you been kind of seeing as you've been following the leading edge of the storm here? Maybe even just like with the rain behind it too.
Hello again. Finally get some signal back in again. But in the meantime, as we're kind of getting on the outside of our viewing area for now, we've been just really watching this main shelf. We've been able to somehow stay out ahead of this entire storm for most of this. Right now, it's starting to catch up to us finally. But this is as I am now panning off towards this is looking off towards the west. So there's that little bit of an elbow that we've been really watching for a while. Again, this is kind of along that shelf outflow boundary, so it could really be just scud at this point. But at least looking at radar as well, there is another potential little elbow. You can kind of see where these two shelf clouds are converging right around there. So I was kind of tracing that out with the camera there. That could also be certainly something, as it does kind of continue on into portions of Clinton County. What you're looking at there should be just off towards the east of Lost Nation, kind of give you some context. But for the most part, we are pretty much kind of square in the middle of Toronto and Welton at the moment.
Okay, so we have been seeing kind of just that lowering. You see some of those just kind of scuddy clouds or the edge of the wall cloud, but there's maybe just little funnels trying to drop down out of it, but there's not been much confirmation. And Garrett's been on this thing, so hopefully we're not seeing a tornado in addition to the wind, because there would be just that another localized spot with the even stronger winds and perhaps even more damage. In terms of damage, could you put actually the storm reports on? We can kind of take a look at what's come in and where, because we have had a number of reports come in. And so, of course, you go to a populated area and we're going to get a concentration of some reports. And this is honestly not that bad considering what it felt like was going on here. We have some tree branches down around Hiawatha. I know we did have a report of some siding off of a house in Cedar Rapids. There's water over First Avenue. There's trucks having trouble navigating the roads. And if Jacob is back in the booth, I know Brent actually messaged me and I got lost, but he said the S curve has some water on it, and there was a car stuck, and there was I don't know if we could take a look around there too. Can we check out some of these other reports? These are all wind reports coming in, and then rainfall or hail. So these ones with the house you're seeing, that's so 2.25 inches of rain in an hour. Whoa. Foot diameter tree branch down, okay, in Robbins. And so we haven't had many, big damage reports. am going to suspect we're unfortunately going to have quite a bit of crop damage that comes out of this. And we don't like to see that. It's only July. And so that's very unfortunate. We have 2 outdoor sheds destroyed in Marion as well. So that was on the northeast side. And so that doesn't surprise me because we got that report. So that's northeast Marion. There was a report of a tornado. B, there was also a report of 81 mile per hour winds there. Yeah, right there. So that's pretty close. So here's I-380 and H Avenue. You can take that full. Yeah. So there's so our engineer was actually saying that there was a truck stuck in the water in one of the lanes there, and there were and there you can see the police on the scene. And so there's that ponding on the roads and some of this. We do have that flash flood warning, so it's possible that we could have had some of that water really just pool up on the sides of the road. And now the rain's winding down, there should be some improvement, but we do have still some pretty heavy rain occurring with the rest of these storms down to the south. So yeah, just going to be some water that could be piling up in some spots. We've seen some of those reports around here as well. There's some New Vienna had some reports. They gave us a report of 102 miles per hour there, and then 4 to 6 inch tree limbs down around Rickardsville near Dubuque. And then these have just been wind reports. So 70, there was a 90 in at the Dubuque airport, or was it 90 or was it 80? It was 80. It was about 79.
Yeah, it was 79.
79
yeah, so close to
miles
80.
per hour gust at the Dubuque airport.
There it is, right there. Yep.
Yeah, so
that's an official.
That's officially official reporting site there. So we did have kind of on the northern side that wind, and then as it came down to the south, it seemed like it did weaken some, but it may be picking up again to the east. So we'll have to kind of see. And then can we zoom out a little bit so we can see? I know there were some reports back to the west of some tree damage. There was some large hail that happened around here. What was the Waterloo? Is that damage report?
Yeah, it's a damage or some flash
flooding. Yeah, so unfortunately, just with the amount of water that was coming down in a short amount of time, and the rain that just kind of repeated in those areas. So yeah, inch and a half almost in some spots. And there were a couple of Hickory Hills, a spot where they were reporting some golf ball size hail. And Mount Auburn, 70 mile per hour winds, and I think maybe they got a little bit stronger in some spots, 56 in Brandon. I had a pal in Newhall who said 70, what did he say, Brian? He's my cow milking trainer. 72 mile per hour peak wind gust in Newhall. So hopefully the cows are all okay. So let's go back to the radar here because we do still have some very strong winds moving through. And I'm just, hopefully giving you some understanding of what's happened with these storms. Let's turn the lightning on. Cedar Rapids, we are out of the warning. No warning for Cedar Rapids. Lightning, yes. No severe thunderstorm warning for Cedar Rapids. Flash flood warning, yes. Lightning, yes. Lightning apparently for hours. But, I mean, oh my goodness. Very, very strong winds still, 70 to 80 miles per hour. I think that this is here, the 80, and the 70 is here.
The one that expands into Illinois, you can see through Clinton. That was 80. That was 80.
So we're still seeing the northern side of this with the stronger winds, and then we have the southern side with some, still very strong 70 mile per hour winds here. That's starting to get close to Washington. And we have then Iowa City going through it, Williamsburg, Sigourney, and some very heavy rain falling, as 1,700 strikes of lightning pretty much happening there. If we have any cameras, DOT cameras down by the Iowa City area as well, we can pull those up. But there's just some, very, very heavy rain happening. We can check out what the Coralville camera.
Yeah, I'm going to adjust it to a different.
Looks like, but we have some small hail that's happening in Iowa City near West High School, and then the Weather Service has been tailoring back some of the severe watch. They're going to issue a tornado watch, it sounds like, into Illinois. So that's going to be replaced there, and I don't know that we'll really get into that in our area. We have a lightning warning. My goodness.
That's
what happens when you get 80-degree dew points. So there's 218 in Melrose, and it seems like maybe even further south of there is kind of where the heavier stuff's going through. Probably went through there already, and now we have things calming down a little bit on the north side of Iowa City. So that's moved through at a decent clip now, and there's still some strong winds and some heavy rain happening, but we haven't had many reports, and that's a pretty populated spot. And I don't know if, Jacob, you have any reports of any power outages or anything else that's kind of come in, but it seems like we've had some improvement. I'm trying to pass along some reports too.
Yeah, there. In terms of that specific area, like how many power outages, that 6,000 out in Lynn County there.
That went down because it was 8,000.
Yeah, it was
not the 100,000.
Yeah, it was not 100,000.
I've been awake for a long time. I'm sorry.
How about you go over to Dubuque County? How many is out over there? Right there, 6,000 out. So about the same as Lynn County. Obviously, far less people. So
and
we're seeing that as well.
What happened earlier? Like Buchanan County had over 1,000 without power, and now they're down to 63. So we're also seeing, these manageable power outages where we're not seeing like we saw in the derecho in 2020. And there might be some spots where it could be, there might be some localized areas where some of these stronger winds happen, that there could be some worse damage or worse issues that they have to deal with. But by and large, we're starting to see already the improvements in the power outages. So that is also a good sign. Though there is quite a bit of lightning, so I don't know if, it might take some time. There's just a little lightning. But it might take a little time for them to get those things completely repaired. But we still do have these warnings for the 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. And that we'll just call the whole line, 60 to 80. Did they just extend that? Or
this is just this was a new warning, just extended, clipping far southeastern
so
Washington
still 70.
County.
So that's a good sign too. We're not seeing intensification on that southern edge. The northern side of the storm may be kind of just taken over. And that's going to be where some of those stronger winds and the tornado potential exists.
Multiple tornado warnings.
So that's why the Weather Service said that they're going to start to issue a tornado watch out in the southeast. There's 218 and Highway 1. So that's on the southern side where you're seeing, still some rain and the wind there, but not looking quite as intense as what we were seeing up to the north. And we have still some of that strong wind that's going to be coming on through the southern part of the area. And we have these warnings that are still ongoing for at least through, the next. I was saying about 7:30 they'd be getting out of here, that strong wind.
Yeah, and you can tell as well that they are moving a bit quicker. You're talking about 6:25 was when, they were just starting to move into Iowa City, and now with it being, 6:58, so about 30 minutes later, the leading edge of that storm is, basically into northeastern Washington, or excuse me, southeastern Washington County there. So just getting into Washington, Ainsworth, as well as Crawfordsville there. So you can tell that southern edge certainly picking up pace a little bit, but we haven't noticed really a whole lot in intensification down there as we continue to remain with wind speeds of about 60 to 70 miles per hour.
You want to pull up the ScanDo?
Yes, I will pull that up.
This is it North English in Keokuk County, and this was from the emergency manager there, where they have looks like power line kind of hanging there a little bit, and then there's also it looks like just a lot of water. Sorry, that's South English, not North English. And I knew I was gonna get it wrong, but there's definitely some water. I don't know if this is a road. But
I think that's like a road.
There's a lot of, it looks like water, but, so this is, Keokuk County, and that was, just like about a minute ago. And so that kind of tracks, because the stronger winds, it seems like, are kind of on that North English area. If you want to go back to the radar and see like around Iowa County, into Keokuk County, Williamsburg, North English, toward Parnell, and that's going to head toward Wellman and such, where some of the winds may kind of intensify. And it seems like Iowa City's almost splitting some of the stronger winds. If you where
I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
So like Iowa City is kind of splitting some of the stronger winds, or the eastern side of town and into Tipton, maybe getting some of those stronger winds of, I mean, just on eyeballing it, 50 to 60 miles per hour there. And then to the southwest side, there's a 60, maybe 60, maybe 70.
Maybe
they still
60 to 70, certainly possible.
So, you know, they're on that eastern side, they're heading into Tipton. So it kind of gave us a false sense of calmness there. I know the northern side of Iowa State was getting into it. I mean, we saw Coralville rocking, and then it seems like some other things kind of slowed down there right in between. And now around the North English, South English, North English area into Williamsburg and into Watchir and Parnell and such, some of those stronger winds perhaps that are going on. So this is still for 70-mile-per-hour winds, which still certainly could be the case. We can still see power outages with this. It doesn't have to be the 90. All those popped in.
Just popping up.
And they're just, I'm not sure if it's reading that right, because it gave us a bunch. But
and it's really, really far away.
It is pretty far away. But yeah, so we could certainly, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of those are a little bit higher toward the 70, maybe 75 miles per hour. But let's see. Yeah, they still have 70 miles per hour for that. Jones County did have a picture of what happened in Wyoming. This is probably what Garrett was seeing as well. I'm not gonna put that up, but we were seeing some more pictures of the funnel clouds. I'm not sure the source yet. So, let's see. We have just all of these warnings that are still out. The Weather Service trying to kind of assess the flash flooding situation in areas that are under those warnings, and then we just have these winds that are continuing to kind of barrel through. So Cedar Rapids and Lynn County are out of the severe warnings now. And then we have a flash flood warning for portions of Lynn County. There's like 2 of them. And then Dubuque is also getting out of the is Dubuque out of the severe warning? I think so.
No, they're just barely.
There's
yeah,
like a
most of
sliver of
Dubuque County. But I think the main axis of those winds are probably.
Winds, and look at that bow on that.
Yeah, that's
like that is where you're seeing the intense wind, and that we had those reports earlier with the really strong winds of 100 miles per hour or so. And so now that has moved on. They have a 90 mile per hour tag on that one. Not shocked.
Yeah. And that's the kind of the side that we were kind of looking at in the National Weather Service, was like that could become maybe more of that a dominant side there on the northern edge, where we were having 80, 90 mile per hour gusts through Delaware and Dubuque County as well. But obviously that's going to continue to work its way off to the east. It's out of our area, which is very good news. Obviously there's still going to be some flash flooding concerns up there into Dubuque County near the Dubuque Regional Airport, and then down into Jackson County, kind of the Otter Creek area near Bellevue. That's right along the Mississippi River, of course, there. So that's sort of the concern that we'll be looking at after that. This tornado warning that was into the area, it's now pretty much gone. This is working its way across the Mississippi River as well, heading a little bit closer to the Quad Cities, but Clinton as well. But it's just kind of that main sort of southern end of the line that we are still looking at, mainly through portions of Johnson and into Iowa and Keokuk counties, where Keokuk and Washington counties, where we could still see those wind gusts. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings out for 70 miles per hour, of course, and we're still looking and kind of seeing some potential areas that could have some stronger wind gusts maybe kind of embedded inside this line.
Yeah, there was a report of 70 in Keokuk, in Sigourney. I'm wondering if some of that's moved through already.
It could be. It might be.
It's tough on the distance from the radar here, but they have had, and there could still be more. I think we've kind of seen like there's been surges with this because those 2 storms kind of came together, and we kind of had that one initial thing in the front and then the back end in Cedar Rapids, and this kind of congealed into one thing. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of looks like you almost can still see the separation a little bit. So I'm curious if they kind of had one batch of wind. So there's still been some 70 mile per hour reports there in Sigourney, and that's in Keokuk County. Also, there was a report, someone was like watching their rain gauge in Marengo, 1.2 inches in 17 minutes. So I don't know if that's a record. There's then a small tree down along with several small tree branches in Cedar Rapids in the northeast. South English had some 60-mile-per-hour winds, really low visibility with the rain, which we've been hearing about and we've been kind of seeing. They're still keeping up with their severe thunderstorm warnings to the east. And the rotation back out that way. There's just the continuation of this 70-mile-per-hour wind threat that still extends through Iowa City, Sigourney, Washington. Starting to see that stronger wind get to the south and of that area. My goodness, and Coralville's having the same experience. If we can do a picture-in-picture with Coralville too, there's just this. The sky cam we have up right now, there's just like the calmness of it where the winds have backed off, but the cloud to ground lightning strikes, my goodness. So we do have still some strong winds that could be ongoing here, but we're starting to definitely see the winds kind of relax a little bit more in the Iowa City metro, and there still could be the potential for some 50 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with some of these, and there was already at least some that started to go through Sigourney there, Washington as well. There's Garrett's out in not sure he said Calamus earlier.
Calamus.
East of Wheatland, so he's
I think that's into Jones and everything.
Yeah, it's over there. It's but it's so he's east, so there's some corn. It looks like it's still standing. So he's on Highway 30, yeah, north and east of here. There's a lot of lightning going on there. Looks like hopefully the corn's okay. Oh, there looks like maybe a little bit of damage in the front there. But I'd imagine, unfortunately, there's going to be some crop damage. So he's over. Where's Wheatland? And then he's over here. He's right here.
So this is into Jackson a little bit.
Some of the he had to unfortunately let the storm pass over. So they pulled off safely to let the storm pass, and now that's going to continue to the east, and we have just the winds continuing off to the south and east, and going to have the continuation of some that heavy rain toward the Quad Cities and the Mississippi there, and the same deal down this way. So Garrett will be able to head back, and then we have this all starting to move out and wind down some. I know there's still some intensity happening down here. There's still some strong winds that have been happening, some heavy rain, and there still could be some damage, some additional power outages as well that could happen down in the southeast as we have these warnings for 70 mile per hour winds. But we're starting to see a lot of this scoot on away out of our area here. There's still some warnings, the flash flood warnings up to the north, but we don't have any currently tornado warnings. We do just have these very strong winds that are continuing to push through, and the severe thunderstorm warnings for those areas. So we're kind of collecting some information, and if you have any damage reports you would like to pass along to us, you can always reach out to us on social media. You can also send any photos through our social media or chime in featured iowasnewsnow.com. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure everyone understands what's happened and that we can get the information out to everyone. So we have had some reports of some trees downed. There's been a report of a tree over Military Road in Dubuque, and then one between Cedar Rapids and Mount Vernon that there was a large tree down. So there's been a couple of these reports. It doesn't seem as widespread as obviously what happened in 2020, which it's these derecho situations, or even these just like bow echo situations that we'll call it right now before we see how kind of things go for the rest of the night.
With the straight line winds.
But the straight line winds, they have those similar kind of attributes of they're going to unfortunately be able to take trees and large branches down, lead to the power outages. There's been some sheds that have been destroyed, some siding damage and such. But we've gotten out of it in Cedar Rapids. There's still the little rumbles of thunder. Some people are still dealing with some power outages, but we're seeing power starting starting to be restored, and that's going to be the case for the rest of the area as well. There's been some localized flooding and some ponding on the streets that we have seen, so it's just something to be aware of in that respect. There's Lynn County. Those numbers start to tick down still closer to the 5,000 mark now, so that's good to see. Johnson County is around 2,000, which storms just came through there. There's the Dubuque County area. Not surprised by that being a little higher. They had some much stronger winds.
And that has gone, it looks like maybe up a little bit, actually.
So Dubuque and Johnson have gone up a little bit. So that's not surprising because that's where the storms have still moved through recently. Dubuque also had some of the stronger winds there. And then there's Jasper County further to the west around 2,000. What about southeast toward Keokuk County, so a couple hundred there. That storm's still moving through there, a couple hundred in Washington County, so we may see some more reports come in as the storms pass through, but manageable, and crews are able to work on this. Alliant put out like a statement earlier. They're like, we got this. They were ready and aware that this was going to be a problem, and when you have a straight line wind event, the power outage is kind of a given, unfortunately, because not only are we dealing with, the intensity of the lightning. We saw some video earlier we had of transformers sparking and such that seemed like there were some lightning strikes happening. But we also have the winds that can take down, some of the power, if it's knocking a power pole or it's trees, falling onto a line or anything like that. But it seems like some more manageable situations there. We do have still these warnings out, but they're the strongest of these winds starting to really push right into the southeastern extent of our area through Washington, and starting to get on the south side of Cedar County there in terms of some of the intensity. The stronger winds starting to get out of Keokuk County, and we have still that potential for 50 to 70 mile per hour winds. We have, let's see, Inter-Rain in Williamsburg in a half an hour. That's just, how it's kind of been going.
That's been from that tropical sort of atmosphere that we've had, where we just got all of this rain possible, and that's why we've got flash flood warnings out for some of our hometowns, which still does include here in Cedar Rapids. So that's something to kind of keep our eye on. I know things have calmed down. We're out of the warnings, but there certainly could be some water over some of the roadways. We've seen probably a little bit of ponding on Interstate 380 near the S curve. We had that and showed you kind of a picture of that not too long ago, where some cars were maybe getting a little bit stuck in that. But we're continuing to just kind of look at things, get some damage reports in, looking at some of what has kind of happened in behind that. You can see any of the tornado warnings. They are well off to our east now. That's into the Quad Cities, at least at this point. So we're pretty much done with any of that tornado threat anymore. It's not a big concern for us. They're just getting that initial line to move through those areas now as we've moved forward. But plenty of reports, of course, here with some larger sized trees that have gone down in some areas and some branches. Of course, here you're still going to be dealing with some heavy rain if you're traveling along Interstate 380, especially if you're going from basically Iowa City and points to the east. At that point, that's where you'll be dealing with some of those stronger storms there. Man, that's quite the that is quite the picture there that we're looking at.
Yeah, Mitch had passed this one along. That this is East Buchanan. If you want to pull up the scan-do.
Yeah, I can pull up the scan-do.
Casey was just looking at it. He didn't want to show you guys. But this
I didn't know if we could use it. I was just waiting.
It's Coach
You can
Alden.
take it full. There you go.
We're friends, but not really. Maybe Mitch knows him, but he said, thanks to Mother Nature tonight, we're going to have to angle kick from the right hash this football season. So, it took, now Buchanan County, they had reports of some 86 mile per hour winds. So, not a touchdown, but field goal. But yeah, so that's you don't want to see that. But it's not the school season. It's July. They've got time. Probably gonna start practicing soon. Hopefully, they can get that
would be
fixed.
the problem. They're gonna have to use the one end zone, maybe, or
if the other one's okay.
I guess it's
it looks like the other one in the distance is okay.
I guess maybe it's the new sport. You're gonna have to start kicking it on an angle or something like that. That's for sure. But obviously, yeah, so you've got, you can see some structures like that have
been some damage,
been a bit of damaged and been kind of blown over. So the folks up there in East Buchanan certainly going to have to
get that fixed.
Get that fixed here. I know the football season's coming up rather quickly. It's almost August now, of course. But still those severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing, just tons of lightning. I'm telling you, the rain has pretty much stopped here in Cedar Rapids and has quieted down. There's still just, you can see the little dots of lightning that are still as far north now as Cedar Rapids there. They're kind of everywhere near the eastern Iowa Airport, near Marengo, near Solon still. So a lot of lightning that is still ongoing with these storms as they move across the area. A lot of big booms around here in Cedar Rapids not too long ago scaring us as they move through and knocking some power out. And that could be some of the issue that we're still dealing with some of the power outages as well. Could just be because of the lightning that has struck some of those lines and everything. But it is starting to clear up a little bit on the northern side of that now as those warnings continue to shift further to the south. A lot of good pictures of lightning that is coming in. But
yeah, I've been seeing some pictures of lightning. I was trying to assess and just see if we have any other reports that have come in, and it's just been kind of I know Barry's gotten some reports. I'm having trouble opening the videos to actually see it. Let's see. But I think he's in the area where there was a report of some of the I'm not going to pay 99 cents to open the video, but some reports of the siding off the home, maybe some tree damage. I just put out like a message on social media trying to find out what some people had experienced, and there was someone who said their sunflowers took a beating. Very sad, they got knocked over, but she said considering how it sounded that she expected much worse, and I'm sure, it just kind of sounded like that wind that was just the wind probably combined with the rain and the amount of thunder and lightning we were dealing with probably made it sound very intense. Not a lot of reports have come in. Terry said she doesn't have to water her flowers, so we love that. There was a little tree that someone had taken down or at least damaged a little bit there, and so definitely some difficulty. And we have the issue of some of the smaller branches. Maybe we do have some of those weaker trees around the Cedar Rapids area from the derecho that could potentially have some of those loose limbs and stuff that could perhaps be coming down that did perhaps come down in this. But we once again haven't had widespread reports of a lot of heavy damage. I know Garrett was heading back on Highway 30. There was some damage. There were two sheds destroyed.
That was near Marion, I believe, correct? We had that just outside of Marion, where there was two sheds that were destroyed, which kind of saw that area there. And obviously that even got tornado warned in parts of Lynn County there, kind of right over Cedar Rapids in the northern parts of Cedar Rapids. We were included in that actually, and there were some areas of rotation, particularly close to Marion as well. But obviously seeing some of those strong winds move into the area. I know we've dealt with quite a few storms here, and things are at least starting to quiet down now. It's been a little bit rocky, but if you've not enjoyed the heat the past couple of days, this is what these storms have done to temperatures when it loads. There you go.
Bye. Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
So, yeah, Washington's going to get into it here soon that the storms will come through, and we'll probably get a new report for them shortly. But, yeah, we were at 90 with a 108-degree heat index.
And we had dew points that were in the 80s, so that's crazy.
So that is a complete change, and the rest of the week is going to be
pretty nice, pretty
sailing,
quiet.
Pretty nice. So we do have crews out right now collecting images of storm damage and getting the latest information for you. We do have some power outages. Power should be restored as we head through the night. The good news is the strongest part of these storms are moving out of the area. The tornado warnings are to the south and east. There's the strongest of the winds getting out of Washington County now, and the warnings are starting to get let go. The severe thunderstorm watch is also going to start to get trimmed back. They've already started doing that. And we do have flash flood warnings. Now, we have seen some ponding. We have seen a few spots where there's some flooding that some areas are dealing with. So make sure that you are staying aware of that if you are having to head out the door now. But, there's the rain. It's winding down here. Still some intense storms warnings, tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings off to the east, moving through Illinois, right on the Illinois and Wisconsin border. We will have the latest for you with storm reports, video, anything else, and the rest of the forecast.
Which is going to be great.
Going to be great.
We promise
a lot
you.
better than this one. But, you know, we hope everyone has been staying safe and continue to stay informed anytime there's severe weather. But we have this storm, thankfully, has moved through, and we will not have any additional warnings for the rest of the night. Those watches will get issued. These warnings will move out as the intense part of these storms start to move out of the area. So from all of us here at Iowa's News Now, along with our meteorologist Garrett Hyde in the road warrior and all of our crews here, we will send you back to regularly scheduled programming, and we'll be back on Fox at 9 p.m. Coming up in less than 2 hours.
Get Weather Warn alerts on all your devices. Stay ahead of the storm with Iowa's News Now, Weather First.